Don't be afraid to lose customers, because I think a lot of us are always afraid to lose. Like, oh, if I start doing my own stuff, nobody's gonna buy from me. Yet people will buy from you, but the right people will pay the right amount for your creativity. And that's where I also say you have to sometimes travel to find those people. It's not just the people in your square, in your borough. Sometimes you have to go across the borough. And yes, that means that you have to start looking into other ideas of expansion and how do you get your product over there and stuff like that. But if those people over there are paying twice as much for the people or 3 times as much for the people that are close to you, does that not tell you that these are the type of people that like your stuff and you can actually expand and grow from here to go over there? Like, there's different brands of coffees. There's got to be different brands of different styles of, in my industry, I'd say cake, but everything.
Yeah. Look. So, like, even to speak on that branding thing, one thing that has fascinated me, I can't lie, I'm gonna jump on this myself, is what's going on with like the cloud kitchens and the dark kitchens of the world, where like all these brands, people are creating.
Okay, food. Before we go into this, can you actually explain to what cloud kitchens and dark kitchens are?
Cool. So we're here for episode 2.
Yes. Welcome to
ladies first.
The juice and the no. I always get I know, juice and the sauce podcast. I always want to say because everything for me is like that.
Okay.
But it's Juice and the Sauce podcast. This is our 2nd episode.
100%.
Lisimba?
What? I thought you were still talking.
No.
Okay, cool. Yes. So this is episode 2. You're joined by your 2 hosts, which is myself, Lisimba Pink, and we're also joined by Nastassja as well, also otherwise known as the Indulgent Sugar Plum, or Miss Sugar Plum.
Miss Sugar Plum.
Okay.
But the company is the Indulgent Sugar Plum, so any would work. I feel any is comfortable as long as you don't call me Natasha. It's cool.
Sure. Because it's NASS.
Yeah, let's move on. As long as you don't call me Natasha, it's cool. Stash, Miss Sugar Plum, Nastassja is fine, but Natasha is like a no. I only give allowances to people who I've not met before. So if you're meeting me for the first time, and my name is always a great starting point for people, because people get really nervous about saying it, and I'm cool about it. But if we've known each other for a long time or a little while and you're still calling me Natasha, just know that I'm not answering you. I'm just looking at you with a side eye. Just make life easier for yourself. I always say to people, just call me Stash, because it's just easier. Because like this whole, like when you're trying to botch my name, like I'm just not here for it.
It's funny, I don't like being called Simba at all. I don't like it.
When people try and shortcut your name, it's just like, is it like that Lion King kind of, like people trying to get that Lisimba.
The thing is though, I tell people Simba, so I can't lie, especially like work, like over the phone, I tell people Simba for short, just to keep it nice and quick, but I don't actually like being called that.
Oh.
So
okay,
it is what it is. How's your week been?
You know what? Like this week has been a mixture of a lot of L's, and then there's been a lot of wins. Like towards the end of my week it's been really, really cool. And then beginning of my week, I was just taking L's to the point where I just had to hug these L's and just kind of just be like, yo, it's not about fighting the L's and trying to justify anything. It's about really just looking at the situation on a bigger scale and just learning from it. For me, an L isn't always, it's not a loss, it's a lesson. So when you think of it like that, it's just trying to teach you something. This has occurred because you need to learn something, and it's hurt because it's happened at a point that you didn't really think it should happen, but it's happened for a reason. But I think I'll get into that on another episode.
You can't.
No, because it's such a personal thing. Like, and I'm and I'm not sure if I feel like I'm not ready to share it as yet. But I think when I do, it's going to, I'm going to share it in a sense of a way that I want everybody to actually learn from it. And the wins that I took from this week is I actually learned about what patience does for me in my life. I'm not a patient person. Like when I say I want something, I usually mean like within the next hour. I need to know now. I need to know now. But I really learned at the end of this week that patience and giving things time to blossom is really good.
I feel like you're speaking in riddles. Right?
I am, and it just makes no sense because like I said, it's quite a personal thing. Okay. And so I can't, it's not my place to share that much.
Sure.
But when it's time to share, I will. But one thing I want people to kind of take away from this is like patience is having patience and is when you really, really want something, be patient with it because it will blossom in its own time. And it's like planting a seed. Like we all expect our seeds we all expect to harvest from the seed in the same season, but it's not really about that. It's about waiting and really just nurturing yourself. And in this time where it's all riddles, and I'm just like, in this time where I've just been very patient, I've been working on myself and just working things through in my own self. And it's paid off. I know, honestly, this is why I said like it's pointless, but that's all I can say right now.
Okay, so for our listeners now, like how long of a window can they expect to hear like
I can't give you that.
Month, 2 months?
No, I can't give you that.
6 months?
I can't give you that.
At all?
No, I don't know. Maybe I'm going to talk about it in the next like month or something,
okay.
And then we can take it from there. Like, because it's personal to me,
sure.
Like, and it's personal to somebody else and other people. Okay. So it's more or less that, it's when everybody's ready to share.
Okay.
But yeah, like I want to just say patience is a good thing, and to have patience with yourself, you also learn a lot about yourself as well. So because I'm not a patient person, it's really difficult for me to actually sit there and wait for something. Like, I'm not good at waiting for things. I always want things now. And I've learned that when I want things now, it never turns out in a good way. It always comes out in like some odd, obscure way because I've harvested it too quickly, meaning it's not juicy enough. It doesn't have body. It doesn't have flavor. But in this season where I've actually been, I've asked God and I've asked the universe to make me a more patient person, and I've practiced patience and I've practiced just being present in the now, not in the future. I've not been thinking about 20 years time. I've just been present in the future. Things have unfolded for me in a very real way, and I've learned to appreciate patience more. So it's something that I'm practicing, patience.
Okay.
I know it seems so weird, and this is why I was even thinking about this today. Like, do I talk about this in the show? But this is all that's happened to me in this week. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of other stuff that happened in a week, but I think like for me, the biggest thing that came out of this week was when you take L's, you take them as lessons because they're teaching you something, and adhere to it. And like the universe is asking you to focus on something that you're missing. And that patience is a great tool in life that you don't run through life, walk through it and be present in every moment that you're living. And when you're patient with something and you just give it to the world and you give it to the universe, you let go and let God. Trust me, when it comes back, you'll be like, oh, Lord, I didn't know that you could work like this if I'm patient. So that's what I learned this week. And I'm just like, you know what? It's just kind of given me food for thought kind of thing. How's your week, Lisimba? What have you been up to?
Working, I guess. I'm running up to my last few days of work. Next week I have 3 days and then I'm out.
Welcome to the self-employed life.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to that. I've just been, I guess, biding my time at work. They they probably hear this one out. Yeah, I was hoping they would send me on garden leave again, but that didn't happen. Luckily, I didn't have to work Saturday, so yeah, I've been, I guess, exercising patience.
Patience is the key word for this week.
Yeah, word of the day, if you like. Just want to get out of there so I can start my own thing. I guess to be transparent, I am going to be doing some part-time work. When I leave that, so I can just focus on my full-time on, I guess, other ventures and things like that. And that's it. Just really looking to fully get stuck in like doing food the majority of my time. Really
nice.
So yeah. Just a few more days and that's it.
Welcome to the real world. Welcome to the hustle and the bustle of just working for yourself.
Yeah, I think that it's interesting. I don't think it's for everybody. I think.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think working for yourself, like as I like to put it, is there are employees and there are managers, and you either fall into one of those brackets. If you're an employee, you like to work for someone, get your check at the end of the month, do your thing. And then if you're a manager, you like to kind of divide your time. You're that entrepreneur, you're that go-getter, you like to hustle. You manage other people. That's what you like to do. So yeah, that's how I see it.
I want to suggest there's a third category.
Okay, what's the third one?
So I think there's employees. I think there's managers with entrepreneurial tendencies.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a third category, which is like the purebred entrepreneur as well, right?
Okay, cool.
So I'd suggest that maybe like someone with entrepreneurial tendencies might fall into like the franchise route.
Yeah.
Like exploring franchises, or they have jobs that allow them that entrepreneurial freedom, but the thing is they still have that air cover of the job.
Yeah.
That safety net.
Yeah.
And then the purebred is literally like there's no safety net.
You're just out here doing you're just like, hey, living bread butter, like on whatever you earn,
Yeah. Last line of defense, there's no backup, it's you and the Wild West, and that's it.
I hear that.
So yeah. What do we have here?
So actually, I wanted to break down what the show, how our show is actually set up, so people get a feel of it. So, okay, so the way our show is set up is we have our intros like anybody else, but then we kind of break it down into the starter, mains, and dessert. So our starters is going to be like things that we've done during the week and any products that we've tried out, tested. Then we get into the juicy part, which is the main course of the meal. So the main topics that we're discussing. And then we end off on the dessert, which is going to be our flavor of the continent. So this is going to be things to check out, places to go, and what we're doing for the week ahead. And then obviously in between, we'll add our little palate cleansers of whatever they may be.
100%. Sounds good. Sounds tasty. Okay.
So I think this is like, our starter this week is like, probably like my favorite thing in the world, and the favorite most the thing I've been looking forward to be honest, this is the thing I've been looking forward to all this week. So okay, if you've been watching my stories over on IG, right, I've been saying my love for natas, like, and natas are like Portuguese tarts, like these things right here, they have my heart. Like honestly, like if I'm being honest, like I bought some the other week and I gave Lisimba one, but he's actually very lucky because I don't share this shit. Like,
I found out how lucky I was.
I don't like things that I absolutely love. I will tell you, fam, go out and buy your own. I don't even care if it's gonna sit for like 24 hours. Like, go get your own. But my love for natas, and the guys over at Cafe Nata gifted us with some natas this week. And the flavors that we have, and sorry, if you're listening to this via podcast, I'm really sorry. But if you are watching it via our YouTube, you will get to see that we have some lovely natas.
They smell good.
Honestly, let me tell you, I have to take a moment because they actually make me take a moment.
They smell so good.
So, Cafe de Nata gifted us with, I've said this already, they gifted us with like 3 natas this week, and I'm highly so freaking grateful. Like, this shit is my heartbeat in it. Like, I can't tell you how much I love these things, but I mean, however much, think of the one thing that you love, love, love so much, like whatever that may be, that's how much I love these things. Like, they're, like I said, they're my heartbeat. So last week I tried apple and cinnamon, coconut, and you had Lisimba had the raspberry one. Yeah. So I've tried the raspberry one. The raspberry one's dope. That's why Lisimba got that one. So I was happy that he took that one. I'm not even going to lie to you. I'm being so honest. This is like real honesty here. But let me tell you oh my God. Like, so when I had the coconut one, I was like, really? I ate it. You know, I had to actually take it easy eating it, because I was like, I don't want it to end. So I was like, cool. And then I was going to see my grandma. I thought the next day I was going to see my grandma, and I had the apple and cinnamon one left, and I thought, I don't know, maybe it's gonna make her happy if I show up with a nata, like with something sweet in it. Then I thought to myself, but who's trying to share that little pie though? Anyway, so I scrapped the idea of giving it to her. Yeah. So
basically, you ate it.
Yeah, of course I did. Like, I ain't sharing it with her. Like, I mean, I love her, but, you know, like, Nana, buy you your own, innit? Like, this is something that I literally will buy you your own, you know? And then I had the apple and cinnamon one. So one of the tips that one of my friends told me is to warm up the nata and put some cinnamon on it, but it's already got cinnamon on it. So I warmed it up in the oven for about, I think it's like about 10 minutes on like 150.
Okay.
Something like that. Just so it's not piping hot, but just warm.
So wait, do you warm the oven first, then put it in?
Yeah, you can preheat your oven, but sometimes I ain't got time to wait for my oven to preheat. Like when I'm baking cakes, yes, preheat your ovens when you're baking cakes. But in this case, I was just like, whatever. So yeah, preheat your oven, 150. I left it in there for about 10 minutes, maybe 5, you know, whatever. Just so it's just like warm throughout. When I took a bite of this and I saw that there was apple and cinnamon compote at the bottom, this shit blew me away. Like, I've never enjoyed life so much. Like, let me tell you, that Monday, I was like, it brought tears to my eyes how good it was. Like, literally, my heart was warm. And I was like, yeah, Nan, sorry. I'm not sure if you deserve this today. But yo, I tell you something, it was delicious throughout. Like, so for me, like, natas are just like, they're just like the little cup of joy. If I can describe a nata, like, obviously there's a British custard tart. Let me tell you, like, them things, put them in a bin. I don't even know, like, honestly, they just need a whole revamp. When it comes to this, it's just levels, isn't it? The crispy pastry on the outside, then you've got the nice silky custard on the inside with the compote on the bottom, and it's not soggy, it's just lush. And it's not hard, it's not firm. It's just like just soft. I'm telling you, like, so this shit is not for sharing. Like, obviously we're going to share today, but on a regular basis,
reluctantly.
on a regular day, I'm buying you your own, or your. I
just want to show it to the camera.
Yeah, like you're buying your own. But I just want to say thank you to Cafe de Nata for like the gifts of the natas. Like, yo, I'm just like, I just can't wait. Like, I do highly recommend though. For me, the best way to eat them is slightly warm. So these are like made fresh on site as well. So straight out of the oven when they're warm, they are absolutely freaking delicious. Sorry, I burped there. Sorry. Yeah, so they're absolutely delicious. I mean, I think I've spoken about them so much, and especially on my IG, like literally they've got a flavor. There's such a deep spot in my heart. I mean, whenever I talk about them, people are just like, Nastassja, you can't, how do you love something that much? I'm just like, yo, I'm I've got a real mad sweet tooth, and even if you ask my mom, like, would I share this with mum? Me and my mum love dessert, and she would have to have her own three. My mum is the type of person that would definitely tell you, like, yo, buy your own three, and like, you don't be looking at mine.
So look, me and food, like, I'm passionate about my food, but I don't know if I'm that deep that I tell my mom or anybody that, you know, they can't have none. So I guess my comments on, I had the raspberry one, right? That was banging. That was delicious. That was really, really tasty. I don't think my my English is as good as yours to be as descriptive, but it was very, 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 very tasty. What I was just saying though is that I was like, oh, these things are nice. I saw some kind of, I've seen these things in Sainsbury's all the time, never tried it.
Yeah.
And then when I tried the Sainsbury's one, it was like, that wasn't.
Okay. Yeah. When it comes to supermarket, like supermarket natas, let me tell you, I saw them in Sainsbury's recently as well. And let me tell you, they look dry as heck. They look like they needed help. And I looked at it and I was like, whoever is in charge of this bakery section, they need to honestly, like, just take them off. Like, for me, like the Sainsbury's ones aren't as great. Have I seen them in Tesco's? No. But if you want a supermarket one, if you don't have, like, obviously Cafe di Nata, they're in 3 locations. So they're in Soho, Hammersmith, and somewhere else. Where is the other spot? It says South Kensington. So it's 3 spots around London. Now, obviously, you can't, if you're not in those areas, you can't find them. But if you want to get a supermarket one that is standardly actually really good and that I would personally recommend, the ones in Lidl.
Lidl, yeah?
Lidl do natas.
Okay.
And these natas are actually, they're decent. When I say they're decent, there's something that you can just go in there and go, okay, I understand the concept. These are good.
Sure.
But if you want to get like bougie, if you want to get the upmarket bougie ones, the ones that are like freaking, oh my gosh, made fresh, Cafe di Nata. Like, but if you want to just try them, Lidl sell them. The key thing is, once again, a friend of mine told me this, is you go for the ones that are slightly darker because they're just richer in taste. But even if they're not dark, if you get a light one, what you do is put it in the oven, sprinkle some cinnamon on top, 10 minutes, banging. So I'd recommend like the little ones. My recommendation on the high street, if you want a good nata, like I said, I've seen them in, I think, where else did I see them? And I just like, that shit looks dead. Like, that ain't even a nata. I think it was, actually, I had one in Nando's. And I was actually very disappointed.
Okay,
I was actually disappointed because Nando's ones are usually all right. And I tasted it and I was like, this tastes like it's been on the shelf. Like, it's been lonely up in there for a couple of days and nobody's been wanting to try it. But for me, the 2 places that I would recommend is obviously Cafe di Nata, and then if you want to just get one on the high street in Lidl, I can tell you how much they are. That's how much I like them. They're like 49p. They ain't even trying to break your bank like that. But in a little bakery. But when we're talking about just bakeries and stuff, like just in bakeries, like supermarket bakeries, let me tell you, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, Lidl bakery is killing all your Tesco's and all your Sainsbury's bakeries like no man business. Their croissants bang. Taking away, like, just sidetracking from the nata.
Sure.
Their croissants bang. They're 35p. Well,
35 pence, really?
35p. I'm not even gonna lie. Lidl, you put your price up because all of last year we were cruising with the 29p, and I don't know, that Brexit come in and give us an extra 6p. Like, but let me tell you, Lidl croissants are decent. Like, come on. Like, in terms of, I had a Lidl croissant because my aunt put me onto it, and I was just like, fam, there ain't no croissant that's gonna taste good for like 20 when they were 29p. I was like, there ain't no like croissant that's gonna taste good for 29p. I was like, okay. And then she took me to, she bought me one, and I was like, fam, this is actually a game changer. And when you go in Lidl in the morning when they've just been baked, It's like you're wrestling, you're fighting people for croissants in the morning, you know. In comparison to someone like Tesco's, where you're dropping a good 79.99p, and then Sainsbury's. Honestly, when I see the dry ones in Tesco's, I'm just like, lackluster. You guys need to go, whatever Lidl's doing, y'all need to do the same. Even like their panel resin.
Oh, okay.
Dope. 45p, can't go wrong. I know, I'm like an advert, like really, I'm like, am I an advert for walking pastries? Like, of course. Yes, I do like a good pastry.
I think I need one of those near me because there's not one near me, so I don't get to.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The next Lidl you hop into, if you ever hop, past one, drop in, try one of their pastries. Dope thing. You know what other thing that my mum put me on to Lidl actually that she really loves in Lidl is their powdered donuts. Like okay. like they do. I am a good donut fan, but I think, I'm a donut fan, but I am quite picky when it comes to donuts, right? And I was like, Mum, do the donuts taste nice? She was just like, let me tell you. At this point, there were 19p, yeah? So she was like, there was 19p powdered jam ones. Yes. My mum's got a mad sweet tooth. So my mum will like buy 3 donuts and have that in one go. And I'm just like, she's lucky she don't eat meat, so her body, she's got a petite body, so she eating that. I'm like, me eat 3 of those in one go, like no, we have to slow down the pace in it. We have to slow down the pace. But the donuts, those are the things I'd recommend in Lidl. So the croissants, the pan resin, the donuts. I haven't tried their muffins or their cookies because no, because I make cake and cookies, so in my head it's just like, we don't need to cross those barriers yet. We're just sticking with those Danish pastry, like the basic pastries. But yeah, those are the ones that I would just high street kind of. This isn't like bougie, like going out to your high street, your casual, if you're casual high street stuff. Those are the ones that I'd recommend. Like Lidl is actually ones that I'd recommend.
When you were speaking, it just reminded me. At one point in time during high school, I don't know if it was year 10 or year 9, I used to eat 5 donuts a day for lunch every day. 5 jam donuts.
What, from the bakery?
Yeah. It was like 5 for £1, and I'd just eat. That's what I had for lunch. Just that's pure sweet tooth.
But who didn't though? There was a time when, I didn't eat 5, but I guarantee there were times when we went to Tesco's on my way to school, buy a pack of donuts, and you eat donuts just the duration of your day, innit? Like 1 for breakfast. I don't even know, like mad. It's like crazy how much, like when I think about school, how much sugar I used to take in.
Yeah, but you're burning it off though, right? Like, so I
wasn't sure about that, but yeah.
Okay. I remember me, but then like some kind of sport, whether it's football, basketball, you play before work, on your break, after school, like you're always running around, so.
Yeah, if you're sporty like that, but hey, I wasn't a sporty child, but okay.
Sure. Speaking of like sport, and you're speaking about like Lidl and stuff, like, okay, cool. I know like Lidl's prices like mad good. It's really good for like, I know like gym food and stuff like that. Like if you're trying to get to the gym, stocking up on like your meats and your proteins and stuff. So that's something I need to jump on because right now I'm getting mad fat. Weighed myself today, 99 kg. I need to bring that down. I need to jump on my macros and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Look, you know what? It's so funny because I've put on weight as well, and it's probably something I've literally been slightly self-conscious about.
Okay.
But at the same time, I think it's about giving yourself. Don't scrutinize yourself over your weight. I think because for me, I can tell you that I feel bigger than I went through a period where like 4 years ago, about 4 years ago, I lost a shitload of weight. So I was a size, back in the day, I was like, growing up, I've always been like quite a chubby, big girl. And then I was at my biggest, I was like size 16, size 18. And then I lost over a period of a year, I lost a load of weight, and I think it was like at least about a year and a half. I lost a shitload of weight, and I went down to being like a size 8. And when I was a size 8, you would think, oh my gosh, Nastassja's the happiest girl of the world. Like, honestly, I was consistently hungry. And then it wasn't that I wasn't happy, actually. It was just like going from someone who was like a size 16, 18, going down to a size 8. It was a massive change for me. Like my clothes used to just, I was just like a hanger for my clothes, right? And then it was like one day, my friend, one of my best friends, JB, said to me, Nastassja, girl, why are you looking always constantly hungry? And I was just like, because I am. And it was kind of weird because it was just like the maintenance of that size was, for me, actually was very unhealthy. And then I put in a bit of weight, and I went to a rounded size 10, of which where I was actually really, that was my happiest, because, you know, I felt like this, I could maintain this, and I wasn't hungry all the time, and I didn't feel like I was ultra skinny. And this is something weird that happened. So when I was a big girl, I used to get in my head, like, I wanted to be a thin girl, but also, I'm not saying this is not to say that, like, I don't know, but it was weird because I thought me being skinny, I'd get more male attention, and it was the complete opposite.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I went from, like, I always felt very awkward being big and having a lot of male attention, because not a lot of mad male attention. It's just kind of like, because I used to find like my, you know, my upper body, like my breasts, like they were big and stuff, and having a big bum and all of this. And, you know, when you go out and you're wearing like a bodycon, and guys are just like, and it's just like, oh, like, no. And then I went down to, I know I'm making all of these faces like as well, like, but I don't know if people can relate to this. And then I went down to being a really small girl, and it kind of like zero happened. And I was just like, I kind of scratched my head. But at the same time, it was kind of like, oh, okay. And then I put on weight, and I got a bit of bum back, and it was just like, okay, like then. And then I asked like my guy friends, like, do you guys really like skinny girls? And he was just like, they're all just like, no, we like them with a bit of meat. But it's all one of those, another conversation that is just like very, very confusing. But in terms of me just like getting to, like, right now, I probably I'm 2 stone heavier than I would like, but I'm not putting mad pressure on. I don't have like a time frame that I want to lose it in. It's just like, I want to be honest, even, it's not even about losing 2 stone. It's just about fitting into my jeans comfortably. Like, my jeans fit, but it's a bit of like, there's that, just that extra struggle sometimes. And then I'm just like, yo, I don't want to struggle like this. But I've not put heavy, like, for me, I'm not putting heavy pressure on myself. But what I am doing is getting back to the exercise that I do love, which is, I actually love running. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm doing I'm doing the couch to 5K.
Okay.
So, and that I think it's like a period of like 8 weeks. So I'm getting back to that, because I used to do I didn't do like outdoor 5K runs, but like when I go to the gym, I used to do a good like 5K, which I could do I could do that in under an hour. So I want to just get back to doing that, and just doing exercises that I do love, and eating healthy. No, when I say eating healthy, it's more like having a good relationship with food. So it's more or less like eating my breakfast, having like a mid-morning snack, having my lunch, and having my dinner, and, you know, just not overly eating. Because I think one thing, I'm a snacker, so I don't really like to sit down and have meals. I like, have a little popcorn here, have a little M&Ms here, and I have to kind of break those bad habits.
I'm guilty of the same. I eat when I'm bored. You know, whether it's funny, my dad just got back from Jamaica and brought some banana chips, and I've just been like clapping those off. Like, I love banana chips, not plantain chips, like banana chips.
No, I don't like those.
Oh, you're missing out more from that.
You know what? It's because I don't actually. I mean, I force myself to eat bananas, but I actually just don't really like bananas.
Oh, you don't like bananas at all?
I mean, they're good for gym food because they give you instant energy and they fill you up quite. But like bananas, like it's just like it's one of the ones that I call their dead fruits.
So wait, the ones you eat, are they ripe?
I like them when they're like, I like my bananas when they're literally disgusting looking. Like they have to be like near enough, like falling off the charts, like brown, with spots. I don't like those fresh ones.
Because
like,
I have to eat it before it gets too ripe. Like, it's almost green, but I like mine. So there's a bit of a bite to it.
No. See, I don't like that.
Okay. But yeah, just to rewind what you were speaking about with like you speaking about like running and stuff. I'm actually jealous because I've done my knee in. Yeah. I used to love doing 10Ks.
Really?
Yeah. But I can't do any more 10Ks anymore because I've done my knee in. My kneecap's actually out of place because I was trying to exercise too hard. And then at that point in time, I lost like over 10 kg. Yeah. The whole thing I was doing was like measuring my food, weighing everything, and documenting it in My Fitness Pal. You know My Fitness Pal?
Yeah.
So I was putting everything in there. And then the mistake I made is that when I lost all the weight, I was like, oh, this is easy. Like, I can lose it whenever I want. And then I just started eating. And then the weight started creeping. Because when your weight starts creeping up, you don't know until it's too late. It's like, whoa, hold on, son. Yeah. When you're speaking about jeans, I was giggling because I'm going through the same thing. Like I keep going up, and I'm like, look, I'm not buying no more clothes until I go back down. This is the thing, and then this is where I've reached the point. I can easily go out there and just buy new clothes to fit my new size, but the reality is, I'm not trying to buy no new clothes. 100%. I'm just like, yo, like we're gonna be staying in this. We're gonna be staying with these clothes up until. But one thing I would say as well. What did I want to say? Oh, the thought is just gone for me. Oh my gosh. What you were just talking. I'm sure it'll come back.
Yeah. But yeah. So
yeah, on the whole clothes thing, like I'm not trying to buy nothing new until I come back down. So I like moving forward, I want to jump back onto the macros and like yeah. And you know what's interesting about macros is that if you ever okay, cool. But when you start, because there's an app on your phone, right? Yeah. You can start scanning food. When you start scanning stuff, you realize that like some of the tricks like some of these people are using to try and hook you. So for example, I remember I went to Sainsbury's. I wanted to buy some peanut butter. Yeah. They had the normal peanut butter. Yeah. And I had this other one that said high protein. Yeah. Right? So at the time I was thinking, okay, I order more protein. I was like, this is cool. Yeah. But all they did, you know, when they do like the recommended allowance or your serving amount, whatever, is they doubled the serving. So although, per serving you have more protein. Yeah. But what has actually happened is per serving, there's more fat, there's more carbs, everything else that goes with it. Yeah. So it's like if you don't read the labels behind these things, you don't know that, hey, these things aren't actually as healthy as the label suggests.
Well, yeah, they always say that though. You should read the labels to see what's healthy or not. But you know, like I think health, like food in general, like there's a whole kind of health craze that, especially when you're trying to lose weight or trying to gain weight, whichever you're trying to do, there's kind of like this mad kind of like, this food is great for you if you're trying to build thing. Whereas if you take away all of that jargon, I do call it just like food jargon, and you just stick to the basics of just eating a healthy lifestyle and cooking your food as well and having less processed food, you can lose the weight.
So what was your, because everybody's got their own method, what was your method?
It was crazy. Okay. All right. So my method to losing weight. Okay. So I just decided one day that I was unhappy with like my weight. I was uncomfortable. Yeah. And it's really mad because a lot of people, if you knew me, like if you've known me for a very long time, they always felt that I was really comfortable with my size. And I was just like, they said I basically carried my weight very well. And I was just like, no, I'm not really comfortable. But my method of doing it, okay, so is this going to sound crazy? But you know how Kellogg's have this like, they had this mad kind of eat cereal diet kind of thing.
Special K.
The Special K diet. So
Okay.
I kind of did the Special K diet, but I didn't do it with Special K because I thought that cereal was nasty. But when I started, well, once I kind of got into routine of eating cereal, it's actually just not that bad.
Okay.
So I did the Special K diet, but I did it. My favorite cereal at that time was Crunchy Nut.
Okay.
So I would have Crunchy Nut cereal and yogurt and a fruit for breakfast and a coffee because I'm a coffee addict.
That sounds like what do they call it? Like the ballerina or dancer diet?
I don't know what it is, but
Okay.
I would make sure I'm not gonna lie. Okay, for the first week,
Yeah.
I was weighing out the cereal, right?
Yeah.
And let me tell you, that was fuckeries. Because I was hungry as fuck after that. Like, I was like, nobody's trying to eat like a 30 gram of cereal a day. So I think I kind of portioned it to be, I didn't do, like excessively, like some people have like a mountain. Like, no. It was more or less like maybe about 45 grams. And then I would have fruit. I had banana because banana's quite filling. And then I'd have like a yogurt. And
This banana that you hate.
yeah, I know. Like I said to you, I hate bananas, but I eat them because
Sure.
there's great benefits to them. Like they fill you up. They're good for like, especially after workout, like good for muscle building, whatever the man in the gym told me, whatever. So I was just like, okay, I eat a banana.
Yeah.
And I'd have like a banana or I'd have like mixed berries with my yogurt. And that would pretty much fill me. And that still does, like pretty much fills me up. And then I'll have a coffee. And for a mid-morning snack,
Yeah.
I'd have loads of fruit. So fruit became my best friend because like, especially something like pineapple. What I did was find out which fruit that I could shit out consistently.
Okay.
I know this really sounds mad, but like pineapple just like literally goes through me.
Sure.
So it was a great fruit because shitting is also losing weight and people don't realize that.
Okay.
Like it sounds nasty, but the more you shitting is just like the deposit of food coming out of the waste coming out of your body, innit? So
Okay.
it's just like another. I'm not saying that everybody go and like start shitting, like go and find laxatives to make themselves like skinny minis. No.
Sure.
It was just that pineapples just literally just ran through me and I could eat a lot of them because it just ran through me. But once again, I'm the type of person who likes to eat really ripe fruit because like if I have like pineapples that aren't really ripe, they cut my tongue. They're kind of like, yeah. So I'd have pineapples for like mid-morning or I'd have grapes, something I can just pick at because I'm a snacker. I just find something that I can pick at. And then for lunch, I would have, I did cut out carbs, not completely, but I cut out like, because I come from a family where rice is like everyday kind of food, and like rice, there's always rice. There's always rice or potatoes. So for lunch, I would have a bowl. I would make a salad bowl and have like loads of protein in it. So I'd have like, I know this people might find strange, but I'd have like a boiled egg as well as part of my salad. So my salads are really hearty. So spinach, carrot, all the vegetables in the world that you can think of. Some of them raw, some of them cooked. So broccoli, baby corn, carrots, peppers, and then either a fish or a meat like chicken. But sometimes I really like mackerel, so I'll have like mackerel and like a boiled egg, and sometimes I'd have like plantain, so I'll have that on the side. So, and I used to boil my plantain instead of frying it, to have like less kind of fried foods as well. And then that would be my lunch, and then that would kind of like fill me up. And then like my mid snack in the afternoon would be like popcorn or rice cakes. And then for dinner, I'd have cereal. But Not all the time. So I wouldn't have cereal all the time.
Yeah.
But I would have something small, like I'd maybe have a salad again, or whatever was for dinner, but have a small portion of it.
Yeah,
and then if I was hungry still later, I'd have more fruit. And just drinking loads of water. So I did cut out fizzy drinks. I cut out a lot of fizzy drinks, and it was like water and coffee that kept me going. But I started to enjoy drinking like water. I like fizzy water, by the way. So I'm one of those strange people. Say what you want. But that was kind of like my standard diet. And what I do is, one thing I did find difficult when I don't like calling it a diet as well. I call it more eating. I don't even want to say it's clean eating, because it was just managing food better. That's what I was doing. I was managing my food habits better in order for me to lose weight and to get to the size where I felt comfortable. So one thing I did do is, like, if I was going, say, because like I'm a foodie, I love to go out and eat. So if I was going, how did I manage those kind of times? So if I knew that I was going like to a restaurant in the evening, what I'd do is I'll just switch around how I'd eat. So I would literally have a small lunch, and then obviously, because I'm going out in the evening, that's when I can have like my big meal and I can eat what I want. I wouldn't say I restricted myself from things. I just managed, like I said, I managed food better. So I was managing like chocolate bars. To be honest, I don't eat chocolate like crazy, and I don't eat sweets like crazy. Actually crisp was different. Like I always like a packet of crisp, but stuff like that, I really, really cut down on eating. Desserts, I didn't limit myself on desserts. I just managed like my daily food intake better. That's what I did. And it worked for me. And if I'm being honest, it took me a year, maybe a year and a half, or maybe a little bit longer, but really in a span of a year and a year and a half, losing weight on a very decent scale. How long has it taken me to put on like so back in the day, I think I weighed like about 15 stone, and I cut that down and got down to about like 10 and a half.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and that's within a year and a half. How long has it taken me to put on like 2.5 stone? Like 3 years.
Okay.
Which in my head, well, for me, that's actually not bad, because it wasn't like I did some, like within like 6 months I put on like 2. It's crept up slowly year by year. And that's also because like the change of my lifestyle as well. I've had to just trying to manage myself working with cakes. It's kind of crazy, because obviously my sleep pattern is crazy different. Like this past weekend, I finished the cake at 5 o'clock in the morning. 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm freaking starving. But in my head, I'm just like, if I have a big meal now, like, I'm going to sleep, and that's just not wise. And so crazy stuff like that. But that was the main forte. Like that was my anchor kind of thing. And I'm just basically going back to that lifestyle, but instead of like relying heavily on this mad cereal diet that I had, it's more or less kind of just introducing much more stable foods and cooking more often. So doing a meal prep, I hate calling it like that, but meal prep for the beginning of the day. So if I'm eating salad during the day, I'll make like enough salad for lunch and dinner. And instead of snacking on cake pieces during the day, which I honestly absolutely love, I have to replace that with fruit and get my relationship back with fruit. Because let me tell you, like, I love fruit, but sometimes I'm just like, let's have a nata instead. Let's just have some cake pieces instead. I want all the good stuff. So yeah.
So I just want to throw this out there for anybody listening. We are not health professionals. Yeah. We're not health professionals. If you want to lose weight, go speak to your doctor. Do whatever you need to do. Just throw that disclaimer out there.
Actually, sorry, just to add, before I actually started dieting, I actually spoke to a nutrition coach.
Oh, okay.
And she actually said to me, Yeah, the cereal diet was a good idea.
Oh,
But
okay, cool.
that was after when I told her,
Yeah.
because she basically, the nutritionist actually broke down how I ate and stuff. I told, basically what it was is, I met her once and then she told me, okay, this week I want you to keep a food diary of all the things that you ate, like what you're going to eat during the week. And then the next time we're going to break that down. And she basically helped me get a plan in place.
Yeah.
So I actually spoke to a nutritionist coach about the cereal diet kind of thing. Like, so yeah, like Lisimba said, we are not health professionals. We're just two people who love food trying to get to our destination.
That's it. That's it.
That's basically it.
So for me, like when I wanted to lose weight in the past, losing weight, to be honest, is very, very, very simple. The principle, it's just the execution's hard, right? And what I mean by that, all you have to do is just eat less than you burn, and then the weight comes down. It's just actually doing it is the hard bit, or sticking to it.
Yeah. It's consistency is key.
Yeah.
And I also want to add, sorry, during the time that I was doing that my eating diary or my little diet thing, I was working out probably more aggressive. I wouldn't say it's aggressive, but I've never been a gym person. And like you were saying about exercise in the beginning, like during school time, you just burn it off. I'd be like, fam, like I won't even try. Me and PE were two different kinds of, we were one, yeah, we weren't in no relationship like that. I did like, there's certain sports that I did like, but I weren't trying to do athletics, but that's a whole conversation for another time. But I started going to the gym, and I can tell you I started working out. And I also, I worked out in the gym probably like 3 times a week. And then I did, what's that one with that guy, that Sean T. Sean T. I did him Insanity.
That's the reason why my knees messed up.
Okay, yeah, I can completely understand because like I did kind of mess up my knee, but
doing that thing as well.
Not just working out, just basically. But I wear like, whenever I'm going running, I wear like what do you call it? An ankle thing, like ankle support, not an ankle support, a knee support thing. And I rub, what do you call it? Heat rub as well.
Tiger balm.
Yeah, so I do that as well. That which actually really helps. But yeah, I run at a pace that suits me, not everybody else. You know. So yeah, I did work out like 3 to 4 times a week, which was crazy, and which my mum saw. My mum was actually worried for me. She was like, she didn't know what kind of spirit came into me, because she was like, you're not my child, because I'm not that kind of, but one thing, like during the time that I was working out, one thing I really found love for was running, and it actually helped me, not just physically, like with my physical endurance, it helped me mentally. So when I do work out, if I've got a lot on my mind and I start running and I go for like a run for like 10-15 minutes or however long I can run for without feeling out of breath, I feel like Rocky Balboa. I feel like Mike Tyson. I can conquer anything. So that's what it basically. So I was working out as well. Do I recommend working out with dieting? I do, only because there are more benefits. It's not just about the losing weight. It makes you mentally feel better. And also one thing it did, it gave me, it made my thoughts more clear. It gave me clarity. I wasn't foggy. I could action what I said I wanted to do without no problem. So yes, there was like, you know, there is that kind of benefit, I feel.
I think like, so cool. When I first wanted to lose weight, the first thing I did was turn to YouTube.
Yeah.
And there's so many sharks out there telling you, you should do this, you should eat that, you should, and it's so hard to like figure out, oh, what should I actually do? Yeah. So what I personally did is I found, I guess, 4 or 5 people that I can actually relate to. Yeah. And then I cross-referenced what they were saying. And then when I saw like a reoccurring theme, I kind of thought, that must be it. Yeah. And as a result, that's what led me into like the whole macros and like scanning and weighing all my food, and then like doing the breakdown where it's like 40-40-20, which basically means 40% carbs, 40% protein, and then like 20% fats. Yeah. And then at that time, I went quite low. I was doing about 1,500 calories a day, but in that split. Yeah. And yeah, just around that time as well, that's when I did my knee. So what I was doing is I was running an hour to work. Yeah. riding home an hour back. Oh no, riding back an hour and then going to the gym. And after the gym, coming back and then doing Insanity.
What the heck?
But-
I mean, I've done that once in my life. I remember, no, I don't cycle, but I remember going to the gym and then I thought that my gym session wasn't enough, so I did Insanity. And that's when my mum was just like, you're actually insane.
You know the mad thing about Insanity, right?
It's addictive, I'm not going to lie. Once you start doing Insanity, you do get addicted 100%, to it.
100%. But you know what the mad thing is, is the first episode. Like, so when you do the first one, it's like, you're doing, jump, da-da-da-da-da. And he's like, that's the warm-up done. You're like, what?
Okay, so it wasn't just me. So the warm-up, if anybody out there has done Insanity, it was a huge kind of craze, like probably 3 years ago, like 2-3 years ago. Yeah. Like, let me tell you, the warm-up in Insanity alone will have you thinking, my God, what have I signed up for?
Yeah, I remember when my brother did it. He was like, what? This is now I'm out. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I remember doing the warm-up for the first time. I'm not even going to lie to you. I did the warm up and then I remember him saying, that was the first part. Now on to the real exercise. I was like, fuck this shit. Yeah, I switched it off and I was just like, I'm done. I was just like, the warm up is for, how long is it? Like 25 minutes or something like that. Like 25 minutes. The warm up, the actual exercise. Okay, so that session, I remember that first one was 45 minutes. But let me tell you, or 42. But the actual warm-up is like 25 to 27 minutes long. The actual exercise part is only like 20 minutes. You're actually exercising for 20 minutes, but it'll feel like you've been exercising for like hours. But when the warm-up, if you've done it, you know what we're talking about. The warm-up on Shaun T's Insanity, I was like, okay, fuck this. Like, this had me rolling about. This had me sweating so hard that I was like, you know what? The first time I did it, I was like, fuck this shit. I'm out.
It works, though. I can't lie.
Insanity,
It really does work. And the thing is, you feel good. You know when you start, the people in the background?
Yeah.
When you start keeping up, you feel mad good. Like.
It was a Chinese, I think there was a Chinese woman in one of them. Like, I started actually racing her in my head. I was I can actually do this better than you now. Like, you get so, like, once you start doing it, it is, I'm not even going to lie. I got addicted to Insanity it actually stopped. I went to the gym less.
Okay.
Because I felt Insanity it's a full body workout, and I was starting to, I'm not even gonna lie, there was a point that I started getting worried with myself because I got obsessed with weighing myself, and so I started putting on weight, and I was like, but I'm eating the same. What it was is my body was building up muscle.
Yeah.
And I did build up quite a lot of muscle by just doing Insanity. And I'm not a fitness expert, but for me, if there's anything that I would recommend and something that I'm actually building, like for me right now, I'm actually building, me starting to do this catch to 5K is actually building myself up to the momentum of actually starting Insanity again. Okay. Because, like, honestly, when I think about the warm up of Insanity, I actually shiver inside. I'm like, are you ready for that? Stash, are you ready? You ain't even ready for that. Get your like, build up your momentum in it, like stages, small stages. So for me, Insanity, once you have that, like, you do get addicted to doing it. But let me tell you, Shaun T on that will have you feeling like a million, like you will come out feeling $1 million freaking dollars. Like, and the fact that when he's going, push, you can do it, you can do it. That's it. Like, you feel like, wow, like this guy's actually pushing me to be the best version of myself. So definitely Insanity was one. Even when I told some guys that I was doing Insanity, they were like, wow, you're doing Insanity. I can't even do that. Like, it is hard, but let me tell you, like, keep at it. Like, I can tell you that there's exercises just in that one segment, like the frog jump part. I'm telling you, I'm standing up. I'm like, hurry up and get out of that. And there's one where it's like you're doing a plank and something else. I was like, okay, guys, hurry up and get out of that because we ain't trying to do that. But consistency is key. I think for me, when you start dieting, I hate calling it dieting. Like, when you start managing your food better and you're on a kind of heavy, not heavy, like going through your lifestyle changes and getting into exercise, it's just the consistency. And even those days, I know, I'm not sure if you had this, like days where you felt like, I really can't be asked today, but I'm just gonna turn up. It's just turning up in the gym, and even if you run on like the treadmill for like 20 minutes or 10 minutes, like that is like awesome. So it is just kind of like being patient with yourself as well.
Yeah, 100%. Look, I'm overweight sitting here today, but I can speak about.
You're not like it. You're not that much overweight. You're just like you're just not the size that you want to be. I hate that term anyway. Like, oh, overweight.
Yeah, no, cool. I'm not the size that I want to be.
Yeah.
But I just thrown that in there before I start preaching about, hey, you should do da 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 da, because I realized I'm not where I'm at, where I want to be today. But I remember where I was and how I got there, and I like the fact that you used the term like managing your food, because that's where I guess went wrong. Because I did all this stuff to like lose all the weight. Yeah. But what I didn't do was that like put in a game plan, if you like, to just manage my food ongoing.
Yeah, no, I mean? Completely. It's the same with me. Like after losing all of that weight, in my head, I'm just like, I can eat anything, boo boo. I'm going to tackle that like double cheeseburger and a Five Guys and do them regular fries. And then you're just like, afterwards, you go step on the scales and you're like, see that Five Guys, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But you know what? That, the first time you do it, when you lose weight, and you don't see that, you feel good, you know.
No, you do. You feel awesome. But like I said, I think for me, my experiences, especially growing up, have made me realize that, you know, like it's all about managing your food, and the relationship you have with food is so important. And I know growing up, because I've always been big. I hate saying it, but I've always been big. It's the fact that as I've grown at the age that I am now, I've learned that it's not like my habits as a child have just taken form in adult form, and now I just need to manage my food better. Like I'm one of those people who I don't like to miss out. Like I love food, but it's like I feel like sometimes I'm like, oh, I gotta have everything at the same time, when it's just like, look, that's not going away anymore. And I think it also comes from the fact that growing up, I wasn't allowed certain things, or I wasn't allowed certain things. And I always felt like things were going to run out, and going without certain things, like, you know, like your friends, like growing up, I had some friends that had like McDonald's every other day. Okay. Whereas like me, you know, if I had McDonald's every single day, like my grandma or my mum would turn around and say, if you're going to get too big, like, because I've always been a big child and I've always been known as the big child. Like I became a secret eater as a child, and not a secret. I don't know what you call it. Like for me, it was like secret eating. So like I would eat all of this food before I got home. But then when I got home, I wouldn't pretend to eat, but because I was so full up from the things that I've had on the outside, I would have like a really small dinner or next to nothing. And then my mum would think, oh, like, why are you not eating? You've got an eating disorder. Whereas it's because like, I don't want to eat big meals at home, because I don't want them to point fingers and be like, oh, you're eating too much. You know what I mean? So whereas now as an adult or coming into my own, I really just manage my food better. And I'm not I used to have, believe it or not, fears of certain food because I don't want to be big, so I won't touch that. But what it is like you can have whatever you want to have, but just managing it in a way to say that, you know, this is a healthy management. You know, I know that, you know, McDonald's is always going to be there. Five Guys is always going to be there. That, you know, that ice cream is always going to be there. I can always have that on another day, but just not everything today.
So, you know, you just touched on going without. I was trying to just remember, has there been a time where, you know, I haven't had as much food as I would like? And it made me remember when I guess I was coming to the end of the days of my restaurant, and all my money was in that business, staff, stock, and, you know, paying wages, what have you. And I remember that time, Indomie became my best friend. That's what I was living on, literally. Like just for people that don't know, like Indomie, like forget super noodles, forget what are the others, like
there's super noodles, pot noodles, there's the Chinese ones, what is it called?
There's a Maggi one as well.
There's Maggi ones, but they're not as good though.
Indomie noodles, that's the 100%, that's the best one. It's a bit salty. I think it depends how much of the flavoring that you put in. So
Yeah.
trick, I don't know, maybe everybody knows this or whatever. So the way I make the noodles, right?
Yeah.
Is you boil them up in the pot, whatever.
Yeah.
Then you pour out like 90% of the water.
Yeah.
Then add the flavor in.
Oh.
Then stir it around, and then all that last bit of like juice, whatever, gets sucked into the noodles
Yeah.
with the flavor in it. Because the other way is that when you mix in like the flavor in the water, then pour it all out, you've lost half the flavor in.
I'm not like a noodle connoisseur like that.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, this is really interesting because the way I made the way I make my noodles is, I mean, this is the way my brother does it, and the way my brother taught me is like, I just boil the kettle,
Okay.
and I break up my noodles, put them in my plate.
You break them.
Yeah, like
You want them nice and long.
No, but these are my noodles.
Okay, cool.
Okay, these are my noodles.
Your story.
Yeah, I break mine in half. I put them in the bowl, boil my kettle, put my flavor in on top. Put half of the flavor in on top.
Okay.
But I don't put that much water. I just put water enough to cover the noodles.
Okay.
And I put another plate on top and let it steam like that.
Yeah.
You know. And then afterwards, once, check them. Well, after about I think it's about 5 minutes, 10 minutes or however long, check them. And then, stir them around. By this time they're done. And then I put the other half of the seasoning on top. But I like mine I add some extra water in it. If I'm being honest, I kind of like mine like pho. Is it pho? That's
the restaurant, right?
Yeah, I like mine with a bit of water. I don't like them with all the water soaked into them. No, I like them I like them with some water,
like broth.
The broth. Yeah, basically, I like them brothy.
So the thing is, I like the juice there as well, but I like mine with a bit of bite to it. I don't like it like it's wet, like like spaghetti. I could be wrong. When there's a bite to it, is it called al dente?
Yeah, al dente.
So I didn't even know that until I went over there. That we I guess
we overcook. We overcook our pasta here. Yeah, it's supposed to have a little bite in it, but then again, the pasta quality here isn't great for us to have it al dente. Al dente, anyway.
Well,
fresh pasta is better.
Sure.
Yeah.
But the noodles, I like it with a little bit of bite as well. So I don't like it too soft.
Yeah. You don't like it baby food, innit?
100%.
Yeah. 100%. Nobody's trying to eat that.
Yeah.
And nobody's trying to have that.
But I actually want to try. So I watch a lot of anime and manga. You into?
Yeah, I used to. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not like a manga connoisseur, but my brother's into all of that kind of stuff. Dragon Ball Z. I dig that. I was there. I was there with the Dragon Ball Z.
Repping the Dragon Ball.
Yeah, man. The Goku time. The Majin Buu.
Okay.
Kamehameha. Sorry. So you see, I'm like I will do all of that shit like Kamehameha
So I can't I haven't seen Dragon Ball, but I've watched a lot of other anime.
So you don't even know what I'm doing when I say Kamehameha.
But Naruto, a mad popular one.
Yeah, my brother loves Naruto.
Oh yeah? Okay, cool. So his favorite food in the world is ramen. Yeah. I had it many years ago because I was just super excited after watching him have it in a place in. It was Oriental City at the time. I think now it's called Bang Bang Oriental. Yeah. I did not like it at the time. Okay. But I want to go and try again. That's something I really, really want to try.
Yeah, I mean, good pho is good pho. Mm-hmm. I've tried it once and I really like it. I was just apprehensive about the meat floating around in the ramen, but I'm over that. But yeah, pho's good. I dig it. Cool. So I do like my noodles with a bit of broth. Yeah, I don't like it I don't like it. When the noodles have soaked in all of the broth. To be honest, I throw it away after that because it's just it's like baby food. Don't like it.
No, nobody wants that. I think we should step into the main course. What do they call it? The meat and potatoes.
The meat and potato segment. That was quite a long startup. We could actually just end here and just like go home and not joking.
I think people be a bit disappointed after we promised them something meat and potatoes.
Boy, okay. Anyway, cool. We're gonna get into our main section. Yeah, the starter this week was long, but I think like it all just kind of just made sense. So today's meat and potatoes, with a bit of coleslaw and salad.
I hate coleslaw, but go.
Do you?
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Homemade coleslaw.
Yeah, I don't like. So there's this thing called Florida salad. Do you know what Florida salad is?
I've heard of it. It's got like pineapples or something in it. Like it's got some mad fruits in it, and it's just like it's just not necessary.
See, this is where we're not aligning now. Because I remember like Sainsbury's years ago used to have that. That was beautiful, but coleslaw itself is a bit disgusting.
Okay, well, anyway, like, and coleslaw for you should be tradition anyway.
Why?
Because with every Caribbean meal, coleslaw is a must.
Not in my house.
Okay, all right, cool. Well, I like homemade coleslaw when done really well.
Okay.
Yeah, the shop bought one. They're a bit acidic. Well, anyway.
The ones with raisins.
That's a Waldorf salad. I don't really like that. The one with like. Actually, I don't mind it. To be honest, I don't have it often for me not to like it. So I just look at it and it's never on my.
If I'm forced to eat coleslaw, there has to be raisins in it.
Okay. So. All right. That's random. Okay. Our meat and potatoes with coleslaw. Going back to the top. So this week we're talking about finding your creative voice and standing out from the crowd, and how to sell and still be creative in a world where you probably feel like everything's been done already, and how can you do something to fit in and stand out? So finding your creative voice. I mean, my kind of take, or where I'm coming from this, is being a cake designer or like a cake artist, or just basically I'm just an artist. I just like to say I'm an artist, but my main medium right now is cake. And this is something by the time this is aired, this is something I spoke about on my IG stories a week ago. And it was through a post that I actually saw of someone saying, well, she was giving her top tips of how to find your cake voice, because I think in any industry, and I don't want to narrow this down to cake, but in any industry, there is always someone doing what you want to do, right? And it's more or less that you find yourself asking yourself, well, am I going to follow the trend that's out right now? Mm-hmm. Or am I going to go off on my own tangent and create my own kind of lane? Where I come from this is, I remember when I was first getting into the cake industry, getting into it by accident, just because I enjoyed doing cake. And the main kind of route in cake is to literally cover your cakes in fondant, which is like the paste. Like I think everybody knows what fondant is. It's just like the cake covering, basically. Mm-hmm. And believe it or not, before I started doing cakes like you see on the ones like that I recently do on Instagram, I used to cover my cakes in fondant. And let me tell you, that sucked the fucking joy out of the job, like completely. I would love the start of it, which is the baking process and then covering the cake in buttercream. But when it came to having to cover the cake in fondant and then decorate it, it was kind of like I just froze, and I just used to get cold sweats, and I would just lay in bed going, oh my God, like I've got to cover this cake in fondant, because that was the only route that was shown to me. That was the only visible route in cake making, or cake decorating, should I say, that was highlighted to me. And I followed this through, and then it was kind of just doing cakes that, because my customers had asked for it, I would just say yes to doing it. And that was mainly people would come to me and say, oh, can you do me like a fire engine cake? And I'd be like, yeah, because I'm an artist in my head. I was like, yeah, I kind of know how to do this, and I'd do it. But like the whole process of me making that cake, I can actually tell you.
Did I just see something?
No.
Okay, sorry.
The whole process of me making this cake, I actually didn't enjoy it, only enjoying the baking and handing it over to my client, which was like the most relieving part of the job.
Okay.
And I had to ask myself, and I remember getting this. I remember when it came to two things happened. So I did this wedding cake, and I'm telling you, no word of a lie, I covered this cake like 3 to 4 times with fondant, only because the fondant wasn't laying on this cake, and I kept getting air bubbles, and it was like the most traumatic experience of working with fondant, and having to cover something 3-4 times just because like there was air bubbles and it wasn't laying properly just traumatized me. And to the point that I said, okay, that was the last fondant cake that I'm doing ever in my life. And then the next wedding cake I did, actually before that, what I did is I got an order through for a christening cake. And the style of the cake was more like, it was more buttercream. So I was more like, okay, this is going to be different, but I think I'm going to enjoy this. But then it came to, I've now covered the cake and I'm ready to decorate it. And I remember just staring at this cake going, my instinct said to me, I want to paint it, because naturally I'm a painter. And I was like, okay. And I had to break down at that point when my instinct was saying paint the cake. I also had to say to him, but my customer, in my head, my customer was saying to me she wanted it fondant. But then in a weird thing, I just called my customer and I said to her, yo, I know that, you know, you want this covered in fondant. And she was like, no, not really, but okay. And I was like, oh, you don't want it covered in fondant? And she was like, no, I just like the way you do cake. And and then I literally explained to her the idea that I had. And she was like, okay, if that's what you want to do, honestly, just do what you want to do. And I'm excited to see it. So, yeah, it was very weird that I even decided to call my customer and ask her if I could just like change the whole scope of her cake. But I did. And I decided to paint the cake, which was a very natural thing for me to do because that is the way I create art. And I remember just painting this cake, and it was like the best experience of my whole entire life. And I enjoyed it to the point that I was just like, I am no longer going to cover my cakes in fondant and put molds, like, you know, cut out molds like stars and stuff and stick it on the cake, because my thing is painting the cake, and this is organic for me, and it felt so natural and organic for me. Now my next struggle was actually really just finding all of like the edible paints and stuff that I could use to create the kind of images that I had in my head for this new kind of cake exploration thing that I was doing. So when I discovered that, I literally left fondant alone, and I started embarking on painting on cakes, and just like making my buttercream much more stable enough for me to be able to paint on it, and finding this new cake voice that I had within me. Let me tell you, I kind of shut down everything that I knew of cake at that very moment in time, because I think it was so important for me to do what was organic and natural for me, and to follow the voice that was inside of me. And when I first started painting on cakes, I wouldn't say it wasn't popular, as in to the audience. It wasn't popular within the industry, if that makes sense. So it wasn't something that I saw within my industry, because I only saw fondant, and painting on cakes was just kind of like, it was like, does that even exist? So when I started doing it, I did feel like, well, am I doing the right thing? But at the same time, what I was doing, my customers really, really loved, because it was different. And then most of my customers were saying to me, well, we don't really like fondant anyway. It's just because that's what's always been offered to us. So we're going to go with what's always been offered to us. And that's when I started to realize that customers actually, well, I'm not saying customers don't know what they want, but they don't know it. They don't know what they want because they've never seen something before. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen something before, you don't know whether you'd want it or not.
Yeah.
So when I started doing that, it became so much natural and organic for me, to a point where I it was kind of like, now hold on, the world is my oyster now, because this is what I've been this is my world, this is my region, this is something that's not new to me, but it's new for me to translate it onto a 3D object. And that's basically the story of how I started painting on cakes. I just kind of just went with my heart and with my instinct and what was organic to me. And by doing that, I found my voice and I found my niche within the cake business. And let me tell you, I've never looked back at fondant. I mean, the way I look at fondant now is kind of just has an accent, it's another material that I can use onto my base. But I would never, like, if you're asking me to cover a cake in fondant, that shit is never gonna happen. I'm not gonna play with it like that. It's just I just don't enjoy it like other people enjoy it. So yeah, it was unlocking that was like unlocking my superpower. Like everything came into kind of like just natural flow for me. And I've always followed that kind of voice inside of me. How do I sell these cakes? If I'm being honest, I am my cake. If that makes sense. I embody what my cake is. So the character and I wouldn't say the character that I am, but being my authentic self of being, look, I'm an artist. I do things really just out of the box. I really take your concept and really just, I take what you want or what you kind of envision, or not even what you envision, whatever you give me to go with. If you say to me, oh, like it's a fairy tale, it's a fairy tale and it's going to be midnight and I'm going to have like, you know, like eucalyptus leaves and I'm going to have like peonies. In my head, you're feeding me all of this, and what is happening in my head is this mural is naturally coming together, and I literally start shooting my head, like literally in my mind, like ideas just start firing together to create this beautiful piece of art. The kind of clients that I have are really those clients who want something really, really flashy, really artistic, something that's there to be presented on a table and not to be cut for a while. Those are the kind of clients that I love, or those are the clients that are attracted to the work that I do, that they want something exclusive that they know they're never, ever going to get again. They're never going to get that cake again, because the reality is I do things that I can't even replicate, not because I'm being up myself, it's because the reality is it's like creating a mural. Like you can sometimes only get that once because that vision is only there for a certain amount of time. And plus what I love to do is create something that's directly connecting to the individual, rather than giving them a catalog for them to choose, oh, you can have that cake and I can recreate that again. I find that very mundane and very boring, and that's just something within me. I just, like, my attention span is like sometimes at 0. Like, so once I've done something once, I'm like, yeah, I like the technique, but I'm going to use that technique in a different way on another cake to make it individual. So I really see my work as pieces of art that can't be replicated again. It's only got in that moment, because it's a moment thing as well, and it depends on how I'm feeling. If I'm feeling a certain kind of way, and most of the time customers come to me as well and just say, I love what you do, I don't want to block your creativity, but my colors are gold, green and purple. Do something with that, and it's for like a 40th birthday and the person is like hella flashy, so anything that the cake can be hella flashy, make sure it's hella flashy. So when people give me that, there's so much room for me to breathe and do. One thing I do is ask my customers what they don't like to see on the cake. And I work like this because it's easier for me to, because if you just give me that and say the world is my oyster, and sometimes I've done this before and I've put something on the cake and the client says, oh, I don't really like that. And I'm like, oh, but it sounded so perfect for you. And now just like, it's funny because it's the complete opposite of what I like. So what I do ask clients is, what don't you want to see on your cake? And that even gives me a wider scope. So if they tell me, oh, they don't want to see, I don't know, like, I'll just use this because it's a good example. Like, I'm not, like, one client actually said this to me recently. They're not into the drip. There's like drip cakes, which are really, really popular. Like, they're not really into the drip cakes, so don't put a drip on it. cool. That means I'm left with so much other options that I can do, whether it's a stencil, whether it's like, I don't know, a geode or stuff. And some customers say, look, I don't really like that crystals kind of stuff. Like, no, that's not for me. So it's like, okay, don't touch any crystals. I'm not going to be using isomalt on this cake. So I can use everything else. Like I can use wafer paper. I can do, I don't know, like flowers. I can do, I don't know, some crazy stuff like a feather bow around. I can do the world with this cake. So I like to work like that. And standing out and finding your own cake voice is probably the hardest thing to do as well, because in a world where on social media you see all of the trends, you see what everybody else is doing, and if you feel like, oh, I'm not doing what's on trend, like the drip cake, I'll go back to this because it's a good example. Drip cakes are very much on trend, but how do you make a drip cake your own and not make it fall into the realm of it just looks like any other cake? It's about just, I think it's a 50-50 balance of that, of you doing your own creativity and maybe putting a half drip on the cake, you know, or doing loads of creative stuff and then putting a drip all around it just so it looks like your own, but it's still on trend. So pulling in what's on trend and pulling in your own creativity and making those two things meet in the middle can still have you, you know, sell your work and be on trend and still be organic and your authentic self. But that's how I see it. Can you ever be too creative? No, I disagree with that. Like pushing for me anyway, I love people who push boundaries. It's a very niche market, but one thing I would always say is everybody has their time and space in the world, if that makes sense. So sometimes you can be ahead of your time. Okay. You're creating all of these things and you're not getting noticed, and because people may not understand it. I feel like that sometimes, that I feel like, does anybody understand my work? Like literally. But at the same time, I'm a whole new niche and a whole new brand, kind of what's been in the cake industry. The cake industry has always used fondant. They've always gone through the kind of popular routes of fondant and, you know, sugar flowers and stuff. Those things will never ever die out because it's actually, you know, a huge kind of thing and a huge trend. But stuff that I do is so new as well, and it really just takes you to kind of like meet things in the middle. And it also just, for me, it's also about just not concentrating on this small box of like, oh, because I'm in this area, I just want to serve this set of people. It's about expanding your horizons, coming out of your box and actually reaching out to the kind of people that you want to serve, and actually going to gravitating towards the people that are literally loving your stuff, and that finding your tribe as well in that. I hope that all kind of made sense.
Yeah, no, it made sense to me. I think there's a few takeaways from what you were saying and things that I think I believe in as well. I think people, to find your creative voice, have to be prepared to taste. And what I mean by that is prepared to try different things, like throw stuff on the wall and see what
definitely
sticks, right?
Yeah.
I think you may have got a bit luckier in that testing or tasting process was a bit shorter, and that you moved from the fondant to the buttercream, and then, you know, that allowed you to be more expressive with like the painting and stuff. I think some people have to be prepared to taste. And I think as well, so we're seeing a thing with like Instagram are potentially going to be removing likes. They did the experiment in Australia. One of the reasons behind doing that is that they feel that people's creativity is being stifled. So what they're suggesting is that, as opposed to people just, oh, let me just create this or create that, they're just making stuff or posting images that they know people will like. And I think
I felt that as well, because I think it's hard because Instagram has turned into kind of like, it's like an online popularity contest. And I remember when I first joined, it was just about like posting up really good like photography images kind of thing. But it is a good way to source. It's like a live Pinterest board.
Yeah,
I call Instagram the live Pinterest board because it happens in real time. So I can see the way that does stifle our creativity because you like you can post, like, for me, for instance, I can post something that I feel, oh my gosh, this is amazing, and then it only gets like 300 likes, and in my head my expectations is like triple, quadruple that amount, and then it's kind of like, what was wrong with that image? But it isn't. Then again, like, it's really weird with Instagram. This, just going off on a tangent. They've got mad algorithms anyway.
What do you mean?
Like, depending on what time you post it and how much, so their algorithms also add to that kind of sector. But anyway, continue what you were saying because, it's going off like...
No worries. So on the whole Instagram thing, the reason why I brought it up is I think that people have to be prepared to step into the unknown by creating stuff that people potentially won't like.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at, is it Andy Warhol? The one that did all that, the paint everywhere was splashing. Do you know those pictures?
Yes, I'm just trying to... Is it Andy Warhol? He done he's very famous for the Marilyn Monroe, the Campbell's soup tin. It may have been him.
Okay, so for the power of the internet. Oh no!
I should have. Part of me feels like I should know this, but for me, Andy Warhol did like the image, like the colorful images. So it's like the Campbell soup tin. So, I don't want to say it's.
There's another artist.
Is it Damien Hirst?
No. If you say the name, I'll know it. It's basically like where paint is splashed everywhere. It just looks really crazy.
For me, like someone who does that consistently is Damien Hirst.
How do you spell it?
M-I, yeah.
Okay, cool. Not this. This looks like paint splashed everywhere. Like, okay, let me try Google. Paint splash painting.
I feel like I should know this, but then again...
This kind of thing. Like splatter paintings.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I can't remember the guy's name. It's really bad, but we will...
I'm sorry, I can't help you on that one.
But basically, my point is that, like...
His work wasn't popular.
No, I don't know if it was popular at the time he created it.
Yeah.
But, like, you have to be prepared to go off on a whim in order to find your own style. Do you know what I mean?
No, definitely. It, for me, anyway, has, like, a living artist. Living cake artist. My work is not for everyone, and the fact is, I'm not trying to make it for everyone. It's for the people who have like open minds and who want something a bit more wow, somebody who wants something more abstract, somebody who wants something that's different, dimensional kind of thing. It's not going to be for everyone. And the thing is, like, yes, that's why I say every artist has his or her season, whereas like you are ahead of your time. I do feel like that sometimes about myself, and in the way I create cake is like I am ahead of my time in terms of just the way the outlook I have on it. It's not just kind of I'm not just trying to do what other companies are doing. I'm not looking at other companies and going, oh, because that's selling and because that's the method that's selling and that's popular, I'm going to do that. No, because I don't feel that's not organic to me. That's not I'm not living my true self. What I'm living for is just doing what somebody else is doing because that's popular. I'm out here carving my own lane. Yes, there are people who, other cake people that are enjoying my lane, that are being inspired by me. Cool. I don't have any qualms with that, you know what I mean? But I am about to carve my own lane, and it's one of those ones that you do have to walk. It's for the fearless, because you do feel like you're on Mars sometimes.
So another thing, I think, just to add on that.
Yeah.
So just thinking about a conversation I even just had yesterday, I think that you also have to be prepared to say no to certain things.
Yeah, honestly, completely.
And not conform, and just respect your creative freedom. So like, you see how you're speaking about like doing client work, right?
Yeah.
And then you can ask the client what they don't like, and then obviously you ask them what kind of colors or stuff they want, and then you work within those parameters.
Yeah.
But you're still working within those parameters of your own style.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think to find your creative voice, I think some parameters are better than none. Because when I've done stuff for clients, so for whether it's like graphic design or website stuff, the thing I hated the most when it's like, oh, what should I do? And they're like, oh, anything. Do you know what I mean?
And anything comes back. You do your anything, and they come back and it's like, no, that's not what I meant.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we've all been there.
Yeah, I hated that. But I think having some framework, and then using your own style within that allows you to start expressing yourself, and just start playing with it. You know, I think also. I think it's okay. I don't know how you feel about this, but I think it's okay to use a bit of artistic license, artistic freedom in borrowing things that you like of other people's work. I think there's things between copying and borrowing elements.
Yeah, everybody, look, for me, we're all inspired by someone. You know, a lot of my work is inspired by, like, I love Monet. I love watercolors. So I love a lot of that kind of work. I love a lot of texture work. So there is always, like, Monet is like one of my favorite painters of all time. Like, so when I see his work, like, I'm always, you know, I'm inspired by that. But am I trying to copy? No, it's just merely for inspiration and style. You know what I mean? And through that, for me, I've also developed my own style. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people will say to me, like, a conversation I had with another friend is like, she was saying to me, one thing that you have that not many people in the cake industry have is you have a solid brand, as in your brand has a look. Like, you can see your cake. Like, I can go to an event, or if somebody showed me a picture of your cake, I would know that's the Indulgent Sugar Plum. You don't need heavy branding upon it. Whereas when you look at other cake people, you wouldn't really know who did it. To be honest, you wouldn't care, because you just look at it as in, oh, okay, I can take this picture to another cake person and they can replicate it. Now, taking one of your cakes to another cake artist for them to replicate, that's a near miss no. And even if they did, you would know, oh, okay, you tried to do a Miss Sugar Plum there. It doesn't quite bowl over like that. And you know, in the way I've worked on my company or my business is for it to have such a strong identity that it's undeniable. So that's one thing I have done, that the work itself, not like my branding or my mark, like not paper branding, but just the work in itself has an undeniable identity for the fact that if anybody saw it, if you were in a club, if you were in a restaurant and you happened to walk by a table and you saw a tall kind of candle column looking cake with like crazy artwork, you'd be able to go, hell yeah, that's Miss Sugar Plum. That's the Indulgent Sugar Plum. I don't even need a sticker to know, kind of thing. I'll probably even snapshot it and send it to her, which people do. Like, they'll send me pictures and say, I was in this restaurant and I saw this people having, is this your cake? And I'll be like, yeah, that's actually my cake. That's funny, crazy, small world. But I do want to also add is variety is the spice of life. And if we're all doing the same thing, it's like, there are so many genres to music. There are so many different fashion labels. There are so many different artists, whether they're like drawing artists, sculpture, whatever. There are so many different types of artists. Yeah. So why can't there be so many different types of cake styles that still sell? Everybody has their niche and everybody has their tribe, and it's one thing to wait for them to come to you, but I also believe in the factor that you also have to go out there and find them too.
Yeah, no, sure. Very quickly, I found the artist.
It was Jackson Pollock.
Yes.
I felt like I should have known this.
I don't know how I forgot that, but yeah, that's the artist. And number two, when you're just talking about touching on, I guess, yourself and the experience and stuff, one thing I think everybody should inject into what they're doing is themselves. Yeah. Because I think everybody's history, their walk of life, their experiences is what makes them or their brand or whoever unique. Yeah. You know? So sell you, because the actual
customer connects with you. As much as they want your product, it is actually you as well that they're connecting to.
So I mostly agree with that. The only reason why I say I mostly agree with that, I think that you can build very good brand, which is just another word for reputation, through your own actions, and people will take that. However, I can understand, and I know there's a school of people, some people I even know, who want to separate themselves from their brand, and they don't want to be the face.
I mean, if I'm honest, I've tried to do that. But one thing I found is people also, they do actually want to know the person behind it as well. It's an odd thing because I am that type of person. There is a part of me that is, when I'm working, I'm very, I like to seclude myself. I'm very kind of, I just want to be with the cake and me, and like, whether it's music, whether it's a film, I just really need that time. That time is very sacred for me. That creative time is very sacred. Like when there's loads of bodies around, I feel like it interrupts like the communication that I have with the cake. It's really strange. Everybody's just like, yeah, but it interrupts that kind of communication that I have with like my cake.
You meditate your cake?
You can call it meditating, but I like to call it a conversation. And that conversation usually goes, yo, what up, shawty? And then it's just like, what up, homemade? like homemade. Like, what we up to today? Like, what we're doing? Like, what we're cruising on today? And that's basically the conversation that I'm having with this cake. And I'm like, what are you feeling like? And like, don't know. Like, and then it's kind of just weird because what I then do is probably go over conversations that I've had with the client. Then I start to merge things together. And it was really felt weird because as well, when I was filming with the show for Extreme Cake Makers, I think this was one of the hardest thing that the film guys, once they understood me, they understood that like, Nastassja doesn't work like the other cake makers. The other cake makers have a plan kind of thing. Whereas Nastassja, everything just happens and you can't force her for it to happen. So there is it's a very kind of sacred kind of meditation, but it is a real conversation. And that's what makes it unique because not every conversation's the same. There's some cakes that I have, which I instantly know, okay, this is what we're doing. Bam. And that's what we're doing. Then there's other cakes that slightly get complicated that, you know, that I start it and I'm like, and then something in my head says, I told you shouldn't have done that. You should have just waited. You should have gone to sleep or just rested your eyes. So sometimes, and I think this happened, I think any artist will tell you that they'll get up to a certain point with work where they just can't see it anymore. And what they need to do is go away and do something completely different, then come back and they know exactly where the next steps to take with it. And I'm completely the same. Like the way I've worked has like, whether I'm doing murals or just doing just like freehand drawing or whatever kind of artistic work that I'm doing, even when I'm constructing a garment, for goodness sake, you know, there are times when I just need to I get up to a certain point and then I need to come away from it. And then I instinctively listen to the voice inside because that voice knows what's best. Sometimes I do go against that voice inside and that's the shit that gets me into trouble sometimes. Or that's the shit that I make a mistake and it's like, I told you, fam. And then the voice is like, I told you. And it's just the instinct within me. And it's like, yeah, I think, next time I listen to you, I hear what you're saying. But I think through a lot of errors that I've made, I've come up with mad great techniques. So I don't actually see anything as a mistake. I just see it as a process. And sometimes the process goes left and we have to swing it right back. And sometimes it goes so left that it was actually so right. So nothing is ever wrong. It may be just wrong for that particular cake, but I like the outcome and I'll know how to get to that outcome the next time I'm doing a cake of that caliber. But it's really just, like I said, for me, it's just like that connection with each cake and having a conversation of what that cake likes, what that cake needs. And, you know, and once we get to the final, I don't think any cake is actually ever complete with me because there's always, I feel like, oh, I could have added this. But wherever it ends, that is perfect for that scenario.
Look, I think what you're just speaking about with things going, I guess, left or not working out, I think that's just business as well as being creative.
Yeah.
Being prepared to look at things and not look at it like, oh, that's the nail in the coffin, like, and learn from it. That's what shapes you in being creative. It's like I was saying, I was trying to make some ice cream, and then I had the mix, and then I got basically like, it's like a cold bowl.
Yeah.
And you pour the mixture into it, and then it spins around. I made the mistake of pouring the mixture in, then putting this thing that spins around, and basically the whole thing frozen solid before it could change.
Yeah.
And I lost half the mix, but you take it on the chin and learn, okay, you don't do that again. You know, it's all learning.
And that's for me, that's such a great mistake to make, because for next time that it's start churning, start the wheel before start the wheel, then pour. You know what I mean?
Don't get me wrong. I was pissed that because I made like, it was a custard base. Yeah. So I had to make it, put it in the fridge, leave it over for 24 hours. Yeah. Then do it. So I've not wasted, but a day's gone. Yeah. Now I'm pouring it in. Now I've lost it, and then I have to start again.
I know, and I feel the pain. I feel the pain, but it's a necessary lesson to learn.
Yeah, 100%.
Because when you employ someone and you see them just about to do that stupid thing, you're gonna be like, no, it's not what you do. Yeah, like, 100%. Fam, you basically, that's a necessary. But it's good that happened, because you needed to know that you're never gonna wonder you're never gonna wonder about that. You're always gonna know. Now you know, like, that outcome. You know that you're supposed to start the damn machine and then pour it in. I mean, I could have told you that, but like, Lisimba needed to do it on his own, not every day tell. But I think, the whole thing about just, it's very easy to follow trends and then get locked into the fact of, I'm not doing the cakes that I want to do because I can be the best. I'm copying, like, I've become the best copycat cake person ever, but I'm not actually doing my thing. And I think one of the things is, I know this always, like, this scares me, but at the same time, I've learned to relax about it. Customers come to me and they show me a picture, and it's like, I can see it's a fondant cake. I know I don't do a fondant cake. I will always say to a customer, yeah, that's cool. I can replicate that design in my style, but understand that's a fondant cake and I don't do fondant. I've had customers go, okay, your cakes aren't fondant. Right, I thought those were fondant cakes. I'd be like, nah, B. This is fully buttercream. This is fully buttercream. And if you don't like it, cool, just please, I don't do those kind of cakes. And if they say, well, I want a fondant one, I'm like, I'm not just going to do it for the one-off, because I know I'm not going to enjoy doing that. I actually let them go, and I let them go to the person that can actually handle that order. Don't be afraid to lose customers, because I think a lot of us are always afraid to lose, like, oh, if I start doing my own stuff, nobody's going to buy from me. Yet people will buy from you, but the right people will pay the right amount for your creativity. And that's where I also say you have to sometimes travel to find those people. It's not just the people in your square, in your borough. Sometimes you have to go across the borough, and yes, that means that you have to start looking into other ideas of expansion and how do you get your product over there and stuff like that. But if those people over there are paying twice as much for the people or 3 times as much for the people that are close to you, does that not tell you that these are the type of people that like your stuff and you can actually expand and grow from here to go over there? Like, there's different brands of coffees. There's got to be different brands of different styles of, in my industry, I'd say cake, but everything.
Yeah. Look. So, like, even to speak on that branding thing, one thing that has fascinated me, I can't lie, I'm going to jump on this myself, is what's going on with, like, the cloud kitchens and the dark kitchens of the world, where, like, all these brands, people are creating food.
Before we go into this, can you actually explain to what cloud kitchens and dark kitchens are? Because I know that somebody's going to ask that question and I'm going to be like, Lisimba. Like,
okay, cool. So basically, a cloud kitchen or a dark kitchen is a kitchen for a restaurant but it's not in a traditional restaurant space. So it's not on your high street. It could be like an industrial estate. It could be like in a warehouse somewhere. Some people have these in containers in car parks.
Yeah.
It's basically just a kitchen space that's used for delivery service only. So on platforms like your Uber Eats and your Deliveroo, or abroad, sometimes Postmates, or all these other platforms. And the benefit of doing them or using that is that you don't have to worry about like long leases and things like that. Or you don't have to worry about the high tariff of having your restaurant on the high street. You know, you can have this in a car park, you know. And less money up front in terms of like shop fitting and that kind of thing. But what's very interesting, I'm seeing a movement of this in the States, and as I said, I'm definitely jumping on this. People are creating brands from one kitchen space. So in this kitchen, they'll have like 3 or 4 tablets, each representing a different restaurant in commerce, but the order's coming from the same kitchen, which is really interesting. So you could have, when you just spoke about, you know, who you're selling your food to, you could take one food, you know, adjust it one way for one market, give it a name. Adjust it a certain way for another market, double the price, and just see who it sticks with. Do you know what I mean? It's just playing with your brand and just, you know, doing a bit of experimenting with it.
And that's the key word. Experimenting with your brand and not being afraid to experiment. I think everybody thinks there's a clear route to how to run a successful business, but the reality is running a successful business or running any kind of successful platform or whatever you're doing is a spaghetti junction. It's full of trial and errors. And through these trial and errors, you'll find the recipe to your success. And I think that I think, I don't know. I do feel like there's probably a lot of us that are fearful of playing around and experimenting. And my biggest advice when people always ask me about, you know, whether I'm doing lessons or whether how to find, you know, how to be more creative or being scared to be creative, experiment in your own time. Like with all of my orders, like there are certain clients that I can talk to on a level and be like, yo, do you mind if I experiment? I'm thinking about doing this. Can I use your cake as like one of my platforms to experiment for it? If they say yes, I'm down for it. They're down for it. If they say no, you just keep it to what they've asked for. You alone will know whether you can experiment with a cake order or not, or experiment with a client or not. And I think spending time with yourself, especially me finding my cake voice, was a lot of spending time with myself and seeing what was out there. I mean, I did my research on, do people paint on cakes? Can you paint on buttercream cakes? Can you do this? The world is actually, the possibilities of the world are actually endless. It actually only takes you to kind of just step out of the box and say, right, I'm going to experiment with this. I'm going to experiment with that, and really just push it. Sometimes it's not, like you said with Instagram, like it's not about the likes. Honestly, it's not about the likes. You know, not every like is going to give you a customer, right? It's not going to, what it is about you and you being your authentic self. And is this the kind of stuff that I want to let out? Is this the kind of shit that, imagine if we all just listen to one type of music, like how dead would that be? You know, your favorite artist will tell you that they went through so many styles. You know, there's artists that even say to this day, like, how many artists, like, okay, perfect, a good example of this, Lizzo, female artist, she said she released Truth Hurts, like, what was it, like 2-3 years ago? And it didn't go anywhere. 3 years later, she releases it and it's on a Billboard 100 for how many weeks? Like literally like nearly 7 weeks. I can't remember, but it freaking broke records. You know what I mean? It's about being patient with yourself and being consistent, never giving up and believing in yourself, because when it's your time will come. And not everybody thinks like, you know, there's an instant recipe for success. Look, Andy Warhol said it best. We're all going to get 15 minutes of fame, i.e. Instagram. and it depends on how you use that. 15 minutes doesn't mean exactly 15 minutes. Well, some people exactly 15 minutes, but it's really how you use up that time. Some people are only on 3 minutes and they've been around for decades. You know what I mean? But it is about being patient with yourself and not dimming down your creativity because you want to sell. Yes, the whole objective for all of us is we want to make money, we want to sell, and there's no harm in being ultra creative, but also doing your just standard package things that sell. And that's how I see it sometimes. I can do my ultra creative stuff for the people who like the stuff out of the box, but then I can do the really simple stuff for people who want the really simplistic, classic beauty stuff.
So
balance.
So that leads nicely into what I was going to say, which I think while we've touched on like, oh yeah, you should be creative, experiment and, be unique and da-da-da-da-da. I think the other side of it, which I think you have to find balance from as well, is, to put it bluntly, copy. What I mean
I don't believe in copying.
Hold on.
Okay.
The reason why I say copy, yeah, and I put it bluntly, is I mean that there's a blueprint and a formula of like how certain things are done. I'm not necessarily saying that your final output should be a carbon copy of, oh, I saw this, I should do that. But I think that I see some people being like, I'm going to create the most unique da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, when the wheel's not broken. All you need to do is take such and such format, put your twist, your individual, is it individualism? Is that a word?
Individuality.
Put your individuality, your spin on it, and then suddenly you got something unique. But I think there's some people that will go right back to basics and be like, I don't know, my cake's gonna fly today, or just something that's like.
That's where I say 50-50.
Yeah,
so
you
you take what's on trend, you add your own you take what you do, meet it in the middle to create a new avenue of like, you're still that balance, kind of that 50-50 balance. I mean, I don't believe in straight up copying, but I hear what you're saying in terms of there is for everything there is like the basic blueprint and formula, and you can take that, use it and put your own spin on it and inject it out into the world.
Well, let me onto what you're saying as well, is what you've said about like having the classics and having something creative.
Yeah.
That's just like, I was about to use common sense, but that's the wrong word, because if you don't know, you don't know, but that's good business sense to do. But someone might not think of that. But what I'm saying is that someone could look or hear what you're saying and be like, oh, that's the blueprint. Cool. Let me now put my own spin on it. Do you know what I mean? It's just looking at observe what's working, and then, seeing how can I flavor it. Yeah.
But I also would say it depends on how you see yourself and where you want to be in, like what your goals and destinations are.
That's fair.
Like, because my goals and destinations are very kind of like, I'm more kind of art stream, very kind of abstract, kind of in that sense. And that's kind of I want to be known and seen as an abstract cake artist.
Sure.
That does work in certain areas, not just, as much as I love doing weddings, I also love doing art installations. I like interactive art pieces. I like interactive food and cake and art pieces, like that kind of stuff, which is there's not a huge market in it, but it's something that I love doing, and it's kind of like my introduction. But at the same time, I do stuff that sells, which is just like, I do the wedding cakes, I do the birthday cakes, I do minimal children's cakes. As long as I enjoy it, as long as you give me the theme and I can do what I want with it, I love doing kind of stuff like that. So when I do like the art installations, those are kind of like really kind of one-off. And I'm not gonna lie, people do love those kind of things, but when I tell them the price, they're like, oh, and it's just like, dude, nobody's trying to wake up and do that cake again. Not because I don't want to, but I know the effort and the amount that it takes to do that kind of certain cake. So yeah, there is that balance of being very doing it's like any kind, I wouldn't say singers do this, but just a loose kind of example. It's like, you're a rock star can do a a rock star can come and do a collaboration with a grime artist, and that's just the whole like one thing, bam, those two artists work together. So it's kind of like that in a weird sense, that analogy.
Okay, nice analogy.
But yeah, the whole thing is like, I would just like to say, like, just don't dim your creativity because you feel like it's not going to be popular. Something can only be popular if you can sing about it. Remember that all of these things that are popular now is because somebody, that person who was creating it didn't shut up about it and made people listen to it. Yeah. Or listen to it or eat it or taste it, and they lived and breathed and sung it up until someone said, oh, for goodness sake, let me just hear it then. And then, that person, it's a chain reaction. So where sometimes you feel like something's not working, but sometimes something may not be working, it's also for you to kind of have a self-reflection on asking yourself, what can I do better? Or what can I do to gain somebody's attention? Or what avenue can I leap this into? And blah, blah, blah. Consistently ask yourself those questions. And sometimes, like, I read a really good a tweet, I can't remember who it was from, but they said sometimes just go to that big boss and ask them, type them send them an email and say, yo, this is my product, would you hire me? And if you wouldn't, like, tell me why. Or sometimes just approach big companies and, say, yo, this is my product. And even if they say no, listen to the reason why they said no, because there is a lesson within that.
So I think that segues nicely into perhaps talking about like some of the opportunities of like the festive seasons. Festive seasons, is that right?
Yeah, festive. Yeah, the festive seasons, like
the festive season coming up.
Okay,
so,
yeah.
Because we got we're coming into Halloween. This will launch just before Halloween comes out.
Yeah,
and then we're moving into Christmas. Comes early this year. I'm already seeing like
Christmas. Yeah, tis the season of good vibes. Apparently, no, joking. Actually, Christmas isn't actually my favorite holiday. So.
Oh, it's not.
No.
When's your favorite holiday?
Easter.
Really? Why Easter?
Because it's spring and it's the signal of everything coming anew and fresh. It's like the old dies and the new blooms come up.
Nice, I like it.
It's a season of life. I think Easter is just hatching of everything new.
Sure.
Whereas Christmas is like, sometimes it's like a forced family. I hate saying that. Like, you know what? Like, Christmas is one of those kind of just like, as I've gotten older, it's kind of just like, oh goodness. Like, it's just got a whole kind of series to it. But I enjoy Christmas as well. But Easter's my thing,
I understand what you mean about Christmas. And it loses its, once you realise Santa's not real, it kind of loses its... thing.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. Like, Christmas is kind of just like, it's just mad. I think I think over the years, it's more being shoved down our throats kind of thing. I enjoy it. I enjoy it for the like more or less for the family time, the family eating and drinking time. But the whole kind of like, even like, when was it? As soon as August 31st hit, I saw some shops already had Christmas. It's just like, fam, let me breathe. You ain't even got Halloween, but you've got Christmas trees up. Now, fam, let us breathe. Oh. And I think also Christmas, when I say shoved down our throats, it's like, it's that time of year that it puts a lot of pressure on families to get things that is possibly out of their budget. Yeah. And it kind of just incites just so much mad spending and not really honor the time of the year. Whereas I think Easter is trying to become like that, but for some reason it's not yet there.
No, you think about chocolate and eggs and lint. You know the lint.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even gonna lie. Like I want some mad kind of eggs during Easter. Like,
oh, okay,
yeah, but I'm not mad if I don't get them. I usually buy myself an Easter egg anyway.
Fair enough. But touching on Christmas and all the spending and thing, I think like if you're in the food business, like you do catering or
it's a big time. It's a big time because there's Christmas parties. I mean, before we get onto Christmas, Halloween, I don't really talk about Halloween that much because if I'm being honest, like for me, Halloween has never been like a big time. I've asked other cake people, I was like, do you get like big, is it like a big thing here, Halloween? And it's not as big as I would say in the US, because they kind of go crazy, and there's people doing Halloween cupcakes. Like, I have a few clients that order for Halloween, but it's not mad. It's not like the US. Like, over here in the UK, we're kind of just Halloween parties, yes, but Halloween cakes, it's kind of like there's Halloween goodies like chocolates and meringues and stuff like that. But maybe that's just me. I don't really advertise Halloween. I don't know, and Black people don't really do Halloween. I mean, I remember advertising Halloween once, and a customer saying Black people don't really do Halloween, and I was just like, "That's you, boo." Okay, there are other people who may want Halloween cupcakes. Okay. So it's not.
But you know what though? Like, I think, like, okay, 100%. I think you're right. I think that the way we celebrate, if that's the word you want to use, Halloween is not like how they do in the States.
Yeah.
But what I've seen over with like Black Friday and Amazon Prime Day or whatever, the way that's like Black Friday here is now like a thing, and most people, I throw myself into the mix as well, don't even know the origins of Black Friday. We just know, oh, there's a sale.
I've not yet been forced into that yet.
Okay.
So it's one of those things that come to me, and it's just, oh.
But the thing is, what I think is interesting about like Halloween, I think there's an opportunity to engineer something just like riding that wave, to like borrow all the enthusiasm or the social interest that you might see on like, whether it's Twitter or Instagram, and just to generate some hype around an event and sell some food.
As you can see or hear, I'm very silent because Halloween, you know what? I don't really have, like, for me, I think a good kind of like festive thing, well, a good thing for Halloween is when I worked in my company, they really, well, it was an American company as well. So they were Halloween was quite a big thing for them anyway. But they did love to do kind of activities around Halloween. So decorating classes, pumpkin carving was probably like one of the most popular activities we did in that company. Like, people loved doing that. And then it was like, if Halloween was falling during that week, people would love to dress up in character and then do, what is that apple bobbing? I don't even know. Apple bobbing, whatever they want to call it. Stuff like that was really, really popular. Cupcakes was like more like cupcake decorating, people doing it themselves, because they had to just look ghoulish and kind of not, very kind of like animated in that sense. So yeah, like in that sense, yeah, like there is so many opportunities of like doing stuff like that around that kind of that holiday kind of spectrum. But I don't know, like I don't have kids, so I don't really know like really what kids get, and all the kids in my household are 18, and when I talk to them about Halloween, they just look at me and go, "Yo, just dressing up."
You know what though, me personally, right, I don't think anyone owns Halloween in the UK. What I mean by that, and if I look at like, see what they did, was it New York with the ice cream museum or stuff? Did you see that?
With Halloween?
No.
Oh, yeah. I love that. I really want to go. One of the things is I actually just really want to go to that.
That's mad cool.
Yeah.
But imagine somebody doing that for Halloween. Like, you go to a venue, you go all...
Well, Thorpe Park does that. They've got that scare... What is it?
They've got... Scare Fest, is it?
Scare Night or Scream Fest or something like that. So Thorpe Park, during the week of Halloween, they open late night.
Okay.
And they do... It's kind of just like... Obviously, scare version of... Thorpe Park, innit? They just got actors and stuff, and it's all ghouly and
You reminded me, I think I did.
I sound so mundane talking about this. It's just like, yeah. But
you reminded me, I think I went to Alton Towers once when they did something similar.
Yeah.
But okay.
Oh, it's Fright Night, I think it's called.
Okay. So that's one example, but another twist on it, and perhaps a bit more casual setting where it's warmer indoors. But I'm thinking of like a venue where it's all like, I don't know, dressed up, but like you got ghosts there. It feels like a haunted house kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's loads of things like that happen around London, but it's whether you want to really get involved in it. Like personally, like, I mean, maybe if I was a teenager, to be honest, right now, I just I don't know about it, innit? I've never wanted. I don't know if do I want to get involved. Maybe I'm like one of those people who it's like spontaneous on the week. Oh yeah, that would be good to do.
So
but yeah,
I don't think. Okay, cool. Like even from what I've heard, I've not heard of anything coming up recently that's like, oh, there's this crazy event on Halloween. You should go to. I've not come across that. But
Okay.
I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there to whether it's you or even me. The way I'm speaking.
I think it'd be really cool, to be honest. Like
I think there's a great opportunity
yeah.
when somebody snaps it up to mix in food with that.
You know what would be cool?
Go on.
Like a haunted house food fest.
There you go.
Whoever takes this idea, I swear down, I'm gonna come for you because you heard it here. No, I'm joking. So a haunted house food fest that you had to eat your way to get out.
Yeah, imagine like you got like bones that look like bones, but they're made of chocolate.
Yeah,
and then like
that'd be like really cool, and like having like and having a room which is like you have different. Basically, you go through these different rooms in the house, and that would be like whether everything is edible or there is something in there that's edible or something. Like really, like how you have edible insects and stuff. They could be hanging down and you could taste them and stuff like that. And it could actually turn into a fun night of a quiz of answering a question about which of these animals are edible. And if you eat the wrong one, it's poisonous. But it's not really poisonous. Like it's more just got like green gums, like something nasty tasting in it. Kind of that. You could have a kitchen with like a witch brewing up something, like literally.
There you go. See,
but that's what I meant. But I'm saying whoever tries to take this idea, I'm coming for them, innit? Like, yo, I'm joking. But something like that would be so. I would be down for something like that on Halloween because that would be fun and it's an activity and I'm eating as well. Like for me, something like if I'm doing an activity these days, there must be food. I'm old, like I'm not old, but I'm at that time where I'm just like, if there's no food involved, don't be calling me like that.
No, it makes sense. Look, most meetings like should revolve around food.
Yeah, definitely. Like if your meeting don't have food in it, all I can hear is
no words coming up.
It's a fish sound, like. That's what's going through my head. I'm just like, I'm waiting to eat. Like, yo. So, yeah.
Another reason why I mentioned that as an opportunity is that one of the gripes that I have, I guess, particularly with maybe African or Caribbean caterers that are seeing like pop-ups and stuff. I don't know about you, but me, I hate when I see, just the trays. The trays and scoop. And that's your whole food experience. I kind of feel like taste is part of it, but people now will only leave the house for an experience, even if it's just to take a photo. And just seeing something that I see at like a funeral or like a wedding, it doesn't cut it. It won't cut it in 2020 or 2021.
So it's just creating better food experiences within the Afro-Caribbean food scene, really.
100%. In just presentation, it's just like...
I mean, for me, presentation is always key. But it just depends, like... Yeah, I completely hear what you're saying. Like, if you were to plate up like jollof rice real good, like, and I know there are places now that are really just homing in on plating. That could be a whole different experience. Like, yeah. Definitely.
Just the way it looks. Because when they say you eat with your eyes first.
Definitely. You feast with your eyes. There's something I say about within my company. Like I draw you in by the look. And then literally after that, it's going to be the conversation that comes up until you cut the cake and you eat it. So definitely, because I want the last thing that's on your lips to be the conversation of the cake. Nonetheless, so presentation is really big and huge. But yeah, I hear where you're coming from with the opportunities of the festive season. If there is anything going down during Halloween, like DM me and let me see if I want to hear out. But yeah, something like a haunted house food fest. Maybe it's an opportunity for us to do something next Halloween.
Yeah, the way you're talking, I think it'd be mad cool. Plenty of time to plan.
Yeah. We're not this year though. Next year, definitely something. It's something that we can sit and stew and brew up. Yeah.
100%. I think we should now segue into dessert.
Yeah. So coming to the end of today's show. So the dessert flavor from the continent is something else that I'm slowly getting addicted to it. I don't even know if it's an addiction, but I'm enjoying these drinks. So I've seen actually quite a few memes. Let me not even go into that. But the drink is Calypso. Now, through my little research on Instagram, these drinks have been around for quite a while, but it seems like they've only just taken storm in the UK. But I know another friend of mine said he's been drinking them since uni days. So I was just like, so they've been around for a while, but obviously they've just come into my eye line. Calypso. Now, I've tried two flavors so far. The blue one, there's a blue one called Ocean Wave Lemonade, but I was a bit worried about the E numbers because of it being blue. But this is my favorite one actually that I've tried, which is the Island Wave Lemonade. And let me tell you, I mean, I tried it on its own and it was banging. Then it was snack day Saturday, and so I put some, I wanted to say Hennessy, but I don't have Hennessy at home. I put some Courvoisier in it because don't ask me why, I've got unlimited resources of Courvoisier at home, but I've got Courvoisier at home, and I had it with a bit of Courvoisier, and I was like, this shit is the lick. Like, yo, it had me waved on a different level. So I'm really enjoying these Calypso drinks. They come in so many different flavors. Like I said today, I've actually bought this one in for Lisimba to try because Lisimba was like, I've been seeing these drinks everywhere. You can actually also get them. I'm not sure if this is a plug or not, but you can actually get them from Mr. Drinks UK. He started stocking them. Mr. Drinks is based in, he don't even know that I'm plugging this for him, but yo, Mr. Drinks has all the exclusive drinks that come in to the UK, alcohol, non-alcoholic. He's actually got these in stock now, and they're $2.50. But down my local way, they're like £3. So I don't know where they're going with that. Yeah, I think my corner shops are all in like competition with each other. But yeah, these are really like it's actually lemonades and lemonades and teas, not iced teas, but lemonades and teas. And yeah, this one, like, honestly, I tried it, banging. Like I said, there's a blue one that's called Ocean Wave. I was scared about the E numbers. They're actually from the US. I thought they were Caribbean, but they're actually from the US. Only, I think, because they were called Calypso. It's just like, what kind of, like, just general, and it's a taste of the island. So I immediately thought, oh, maybe they're from Caribbean. No, they're actually created in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, out in the US, but they're dope. Like, I find them dope. Some people have said they're just like, they are full of sugar, but it's good sugar. But, and especially since the sugar tax has come into the UK, yeah, these drinks seem like my savior because ain't nobody trying to drink like no added sugar for the rest of their lives. Like, really? But yeah, really dope drinks. I like them. They're great to make cocktail mixes as well. For the grown and sexy, you know, if you're doing your cocktail thing. Like I said, I had mine with a bit of Courvoisier. That was a wave. I ain't even gonna lie. That was a wave. I enjoyed that evening. I even told a friend, I was like, yo, this flavor's dope. I had a little bit of Courvoisier. Yo, that was a grown people drink. But yeah, and the other flavor that I tried is the guava lime. The guava limeade. I really like that. It's more limey than guava, but I actually appreciated that because guava is one of those drinks that's quite sharp. Guava juice can be quite sharp. And so with the balance of the lime, made it quite citrusy, and I quite enjoyed that. So those are two flavors I've tried. There's another flavor that I am edging to try, which is I think it's called the grape berry or something like that. That one needs to be had and enjoyed. But yeah, my flavor from the continent, and the continent this week is the US, and it's the Calypso juices. Where else can you find these? I only know that I find it down my way. I live around where I live in South, and in the deep South, on the edges of London. You can find these in like literally any corner shop down there. And like I said, Mr. Drinks UK has got them, and Mr. Drinks is also on IG. When I saw that he had them, I was like, yo, I need to go stock up over there. So yeah, that's my flavor.
I have been seeing this everywhere. I've not tried it yet.
Yeah.
But I've been seeing this everywhere. So
well, you can take that one, and that's yours.
Oh, this is me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, because you can take that one, try it, and Lisimba will let you know his thoughts.
I'm gonna try it now.
Okay, he's gonna try it now, and he's gonna let you know what he thinks.
If I can open it. I was just thinking when you said Wisconsin, the only reason I know Wisconsin is I think my first internet friend was from Wisconsin.
Really?
Yeah. I think it was on like ICQ. Do you remember ICQ?
No.
Okay.
I don't know about IC. I remember MSN. I remember Bolt.
Bolt?
Yeah.
I don't know that one.
Okay. I'm like, here, watch it. I'm not even going to watch you because I know that sounds like awkward. But anyway, if you're listening on the podcast, like he's just trying the Calypso drink and it's the Island Wave. And he's...
Just to smell it?
He's trying to he's just being that connoisseur, trying to smell the drink and smell the drink and thing. Anyway, if you've tried these drinks, like, let us know.
It smells nice, It smells like an alcohol pop.
Yeah, honestly, people think there's alcohol in them, but there's not. So one thing, I'm to be honest, I'm not a sales rep for this company. I'm not going to tell you that they've got... For me, it doesn't have alcohol in it because I've put my own alcohol in it.
That is nice.
See, funny thing is, I've seen some people on Instagram say they don't like the drink. And I mean, there's strawberry. Okay, they've got strawberry flavors. And I've seen people say the strawberry flavors aren't that nice. I don't know. To be honest, I don't really like strawberry flavored things. Like, not totally, as in drinks and cakes. Like, strawberry flavored cake sounds really weird to me. And no, actually, I like strawberry Ribena. I'm lying. Okay. Everything I just said was a lie. I do like strawberry Ribena, but they said it doesn't really taste really strawberry-y. Is that even a word? But, I like them.
You know why I like this so much?
The flavors are subtle, isn't it?
This is it. It's not overpowering, which makes it not taste too artificial. And it's subtle enough to taste more than flavored water, but it's not overpowering to make it taste like just drinking chemicals and stuff.
Okay, so, right. That is why I like the drinks. Like, I don't like powerful tasting things. When I say overpower, I don't like flavors that are mad overpowering. Like, when something is mad overpowering for me, my taste buds just go all in they go in a frenzy. And then afterwards, what happens is I don't really taste the thing. I'm just constantly eating it because it's there. But with these, they're quite a light. They're drink, like, honestly, it's not refreshing. That's the word. They're refreshing. So imagine you're in Carnival and you got a Calypso and you add some rum to that. Jesus is Lord. Let me tell you. That's what I was going to say. When you go home, just put in the fridge, or if you've got ice, drop some ice in there. And it's so refreshing like that. And it's such an easy mixer because it's not overpowering. And if you're into those kind of, if you like flavors that are really, really strong, or you want that juice that is like mad juicy, this is probably not the juice for you, because it's kind of like on that borderline of iced tea, like they're teas and lemonades. Like, and I can tell also, sorry, before I go into this, there's another flavor that I really, really want to try. It's called coconut colada. That shit looks banging. Like, but if you're into like just juices and something more refreshing, like, these are very refreshing drinks. They're not supposed to be like mad kind of, they're not supposed to be like a Capri Sun. No, they're like a Capri Sun. They're not supposed to be like, what is it called? What's that juice? Is it called Sun?
Capri Sun.
Not Capri Sun. There's another one. What's this? There's sun juice or whatever they're called. Like, not sun juice. I forgot the name of it.
You know what this reminds me of? But it is slightly different. Snapple from back in the day. Do you remember Snapple?
Yes, Snapple still bangs.
Oh, they still sell them.
in the hood shops. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. That's what it is. Like, actually, that's a very good comparison to for this drink. So if you like Schnapple, you will like Calypso. I would say it's just got higher rates of E numbers in them. Come on, it's coming from the US. You know how they do with their E numbers. They ain't letting up and shit. But it's like Schnapple. So the drinks are quite refreshing. So some people like them. Some people think it's in the bin kind of stuff. But for me, it's quite refreshing and it's quite easy to drink. Like I said, I really enjoyed, like my favorite one so far is the Island Wave. But the guava limeade one is also good because it's a limeade. It's not mad guava. It's not harsh tasting kind of thing. But yeah, that's our flavor from the continent this week.
Thank you. I will enjoy drinking this definitely.
Well, you can wash it down with one nata in it.
Wash the drink down with one nata.
What?
You said I can wash the drink down with one nata.
With one nata, as in like...
You mean I can wash a nata down with the drink?
Yeah, like...
But your joke was about just having one to share.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
You like with one... like, how many did you want? And I drink it.
You know, this reminds me of my dad. So my dad does this thing where he'll make like 10 dumplings. And like, here's one.
You should know me.
See what I'm working with. Well, it's all good. It's all good.
No, I'm so sorry. I'm playing with you. I'm playing. It's sharing is
but not when it comes to natas.
Is caring. But yeah, I mean, yeah. So yeah, he gonna get a nata or two. I don't, however many. Okay.
I'll let you guys know next episode if I've got any. I'll let you guys know. So,
but I mean, yeah. So guys, we're coming to the end of the show. I mean, if you enjoyed anything that we talked about, you can hit us up on our socials. And we've actually got this down to a key this week. Like, I know how in our first episode we're like, we don't even know our socials. Like, yo, I don't even know. Just hit me up in my own IG. Like, yo. So so our email address is juice.thesauce@gmail.com, and our IG is juice_and_the sauce. Hit us up, follow. If you have any recommendations for us to try, let us know. Next week we'll be back. Well, our next episode will be back with more sauce, with more juice.
100%. I want to throw out like the question of the day. I want you guys to just hit us up on IG and let us know what we should be eating this Halloween.
Yeah, that would be actually dope. Like, yeah. So, what's your favorite Halloween treat? Obviously, if you're listening from the US, like, tell us what bangs. If you're listening to the UK from the UK, tell us what bangs. Globally, tell us what bangs during Halloween. 100%. Don't tell me no toffee apples because toffee apples don't bang.
I don't think I've ever tried. I've seen them, but I don't think I've tried them.
They're only nice when you're taking off the toffee. After that, it's just the apple. I mean, yeah, that's basically how far we're going to go.
Fair enough, I hear that. Maybe I'll get one and just try it and see.
Yeah, okay, maybe actually what we'll do is our next episode, we'll have some toffee apples. I'm going to bring you some toffee apples and you can try them.
Cool, sounds good.
Yeah. So, anything for the new week?
For me, literally, Thursday is when like the ice cream empire begins. So I'm just counting down to that.
Cool.
And you? What are you up to?
What am I doing this week? I actually just don't know. Obviously, it's a caking week as usual. And I think I'm just taking it easy this week. Actually, no. Well, yes, okay. I am taking it easy, but also I am in the midst of I need to gather up my cousin who does photography and set some dates for us to do some cake photography. That's what we're doing this week. Some planning. So this is kind of like we're going into Christmas time, and so this is like the last kind of push of the year kind of thing. So planning for next year and what my world domination plan is for next year and kind of stuff. So yeah, but it's an easy week, it's a reflective week, and just I think I'm just gonna have a lot of kind of just like me time. Me time has in kind of experimenting and just chilling out and just I know what I'm actually doing this week. Sorry, after all of that nonsense, right? I'm going to Summer Walker concert on Tuesday.
Who?
Okay, Summer Walker, R&B artist.
Okay.
So I'll tell you how I enjoyed her concert. This is like, have I been to concerts this year? Yeah, I have. This is going to be probably like my second concert this year. I haven't done a lot of concerts this year, which has been sad because I do like going to concerts. It's like one of my favorite things. But Summer Walker on Tuesday.
What's the name? Sing one of her songs.
Hell no.
It's just so we can understand the song.
Okay. What am I to know? Everybody go to your iTunes.
Sing for the people.
Go to your iTunes. Go to your
chorus.
Spotify.
One hook.
Okay, she's got a song on her album.
Okay, do you want me to click?
No, I can't even sing it. But she's got a song on her album which she samples. It's it's featuring Usher.
Okay.
It's a sample of Make You Wanna. Is that the song? Make me wanna leave the one I'm with. Yeah. So she's got a sample of that.
Oh, okay, cool.
And with Usher.
Sure.
Bang! I think it's called Come Through.
Okay.
I cannot wait to hear that shit live. Like, shit. I'm going to get like, Summer Walker, like, gets me in my... Does she get me in my feelings? No, she gets me in my feelings, but it's just fucking good damn R&B.
Okay.
Like, for me, like, just, like, the bomb, like literally good R&B. So I'm going to her concert on Tuesday. That's why I'm like, why am I hyped this week? There is something I'm doing. I'm looking forward to something. It's a concert on Tuesday, and then it's just a lot of just experimenting this week. When I've got light weeks, I like to experiment and just like get my, like I said, grab my cousin, get our photography thing going and keep it moving really. So yeah, that's what my week holds. I'll tell you what the concert is like.
100%.
Next episode, yeah.
Cool, guys. Well, see you guys in the next episode. Thanks for watching if you're on YouTube, and thanks for listening if you're on the podcast.
Bye.